What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. Tente Chapter 229 Tia hits 3, Ant's death date, please complete the order. Previous chapter next chapter advertisement he felt the terrifying pressure of Hannibal, as if his soul had suffered an unbearable pressure. Everyone present is discolored, this kind of crushing on the soul level, everyone knows, what a terrible thing it is. It has to be said that Hannibal hit Big Mom with a direct attack, which made Luo and Kid stop attacking for a while. There is no way, now they are exhausted physically and mentally, their physical strength is seriously exhausted, and at most they can only release a few more moves. In the face of a new terrifying woman with 4 Emperor's level combat power, they were really at a loss. Because they don't know Hannibal at all. A terrifying existence whose specific strength and abilities are unknown, perhaps even more powerful than the Emperor level. Let them be extremely tangled and fearful, bastard, how could my mother be defeated by your stinky little girl? In the past few decades, we've killed hundreds of brats like you, For decades, the Kun has been on this sea, since the moment you were born and suckled. Pushing aside the ruins covering her body, Lingling, the ant with flames burning above her head, came out panting. Even if it was hit hard by Hannibal, it was still a lively monster. He declared his status as a Sea Emperor without hesitation. Luo, Kid, and you woman, you little bastards, you will also be part of this history, 99. 35, Mighty Kingdom, Mingguang Sword, 99. Ant Lingling exudes the suppressing power of the soul, waving Napoleon's lightsaber in his hand, and he will cut out with one sword. Advertisement, give it, S.N. 5 Suddenly, Kid, who was in a state of shock, suddenly came back to his senses, and directly manipulated the big magnetic bull to rush towards Ant Lingling. Big Mom is at the end of the road, no matter how royal or not, Kid just wants to kill Big Mom first. As for the rest, let's talk about it after killing Big Mom. Leaping into the air, he left the car of the great magnetic demon bull, and stretched out his hand to activate the fruit ability. Okokokok. Bang bang, what's the matter, can't move. Ant Lingling was horrified, how could she suddenly be pushed against the wall by a force, stuck and unable to break free? Mom, run away, we can't break free, get out of the way, Mom. Homits, the iron object endowed with soul by Ant Lingling, shouted in horror. Escape. I can't break free. 35 Ant Lingling's eyes widened, and as her anger rose to her heart, her natural monster body suddenly exerted strength. Oh la la, The huge body was pulled forward fiercely, and the terrifying power broke out, and the back was connected to the live broadcast tower and stood up. Hey, what a monster, he actually broke free and stood up with the tower on his back. It's absurd, worthy of being an emperor. Seeing this scene, Kid's eyes flashed with surprise, but he still smiled unruly. Advertisement. For flowers. And what about this terrifying monster body, let's see how he pierces her head. Hey, Kid, you made me carry something on my back. Mother's visit, 35, 3000, Lee. The terrifying Ant Lingling swung the knife directly. Hera turned into a devil-like existence and attacked Kid and others. It looks like you must all lie down. Looking at the 3 people who continued to fight, a chill flashed in Hannibal's eyes. Flaming Sea Shark. As Hannibal's sassy soft drink sounded, a majestic fiery ocean current emerged from the shark-shaped sword, spurted out, and charged towards Ant Lingling and Kid. The fiery waves formed a huge big shark, driving the waves behind them to surge. Ant Lingling and Kid were startled and attacked the big shark one after another. Baton. Luo also hurriedly activated his fruit ability, teleporting a section of the collapsed tower over. Katakana middle. Seeking flowers boom. It's just that in front of Ryatsu's great white shark, this half of the tower was directly smashed into pieces. With undiminished power, he rushed towards the surging killing of the 3. ROOM transfer. Luo with an embarrassed expression pointed his finger at the sea shark and wanted to transfer it, but found that he couldn't do it. This made his complexion change greatly, except for the 4 emperors, he was unable to transfer the physical moves of this attack. Advertisement. I can only change my attention, and quickly transfer myself and Kid to another place to avoid the attack. Destroy it. 3000 miles, Ant Lingling was shocked. Hera's incarnation's disaster attack took the lead, sneered and rushed towards the sea shark with confidence. Woo! What the hell is this? It was only when the confident Hera approached, trying to use the power of thunder and flame to resist and wipe out the fiery sea shark. However, she found that her whole body was constantly swallowed and annihilated by the sea shark heat wave in front of her. Mother, save me, Hera's screams were endless, and everyone trembled subconsciously. It didn't take a moment for Ant Lingling to discover that her thundercloud Hera had been swallowed up and annihilated. How is this possible? Ant Lingling was stunned when she saw Hera, who disappeared and perished. That is Thundercloud Hera, the thundercloud she recreated, only she has the ability to give it the existence of life and death. Now it's been wiped out. How is this possible? Does this woman really restrain her soul fruit ability? Gurgle. Before he could speak, the blazing sea shark slaughtered directly in front of Ant Lingling, slammed into her arms, and instantly engulfed the other party. Ant Lingling screamed twice and was swallowed by the hot sea shark, and her whole body was wrapped in the hot ocean current. The bones of Hormats in the body were quickly annihilated, and Napoleon and Prometheus were also quickly neutralized by the soul, dissipating death. Chapter 230 Defeat Big Mom, Terrible Hannibal, please complete order. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Damn. Suddenly, the powerful unyielding willpower brought Aunt Lingling back to consciousness. Her eyes exuded the terrifying power of the soul, giving Napoleon and Prometheus the power of the soul again. Just when Aunt Lingling used a unique trick to break free, Hannibal stood in the air, and the Zanpakuto in his hand was already fully charged. Emperor Sero. Boom. A dazzling golden light shone on the entire second floor, shooting in all directions through the hole, and everyone was shocked by the golden light exuding terrifying power. Immediately afterwards, the golden Sero slashed out of Zanpakuto. The shocking golden Sero shot, the Aunt Lingling was horrified, screamed in horror, and desperately resisted. The next moment, the fan-shaped Emperor Sero has arrived. The terrifying golden Sero instantly engulfed the figure of Aunt, Sanchi, Lingling, and Prometheus and Napoleon were annihilated again. In the golden Sero Ryotsu, Aunt Lingling rolled her eyes, muttered a few words unwillingly, and completely lost consciousness. Sero blasted away Skull City and fought outside. The clouds in the sky were pushed aside again, and the strong Ryotsu energy made the clouds in the sky unable to blend together again for a long time. This terrifying sight also surprised Momonosuke, who was dragging Onigashima Island. Frightened, the entire Oni Island, which was dragged and flew away in the opposite direction of the flower capital, shook a few times. Cough puff, damn it, the injury hasn't fully recovered yet. Momonosuke spat out a mouthful of blood, which had already been treated by Chopper and Dr. Goat. But in order to save Wano-kuni and drag the entire huge Oni Island, Momonosuke had to transform into a peach-colored giant god-tier dragon, which consumed a lot of physical strength. Advertisement. The injury had already relapsed, and Momonosuke only felt that his whole body was shaking and throbbing, which made him a little unbearable. After coughing a few mouthfuls of blood, Momonosuke gritted his teeth when he thought of the people of Wano-kuni, and his will was firmed up again. I am a samurai who will ascend to the throne of General Wano-kuni in the future, and I must not fall here. Let Onigashima land, and destroy the flower capital. After cheering for himself, Momonosuke activated the fruit ability again, and the power to drag the island of Oni was stronger, and more flame clouds were generated. Live in the building, Aunt Lingling was covered in injuries and Bloodline's huge body lay in the rubble, revealing half of her fat body. Chi-Ruoyusi passed out and completely lost his combat effectiveness. Mother. But the four emperors. B1, Big, M, Mom. How can they be defeated? Until the moment when she was completely defeated, Aunt Lingling was still in disbelief. He was actually defeated like that. The legend of his Sea Emperor has come to an end, and the new emperor has ascended the throne. However, this emperor is not the Emperor of Thieves. It's just one of someone's concubines. After saying this intermittent sentence, Aunt Lingling passed out. After solving Aunt Lingling, Hannibal did not have the slightest mood swing. Tossed the shark-shaped greatsword Zanpakuto. The power of this blow is completely a blow that erupts after restraint, otherwise, if you make a full effort. The entire skeleton city had to be bombed. It is estimated that few soldiers in the army of Christy Kingdom will survive. Advertisement coupled with the message that Davy suddenly sent to Hannibal at the end, Hannibal finally stopped and just beat Aunt Lingling unconscious. As for Davy's sudden message to Hannibal, of course, Davy has taken a fancy to the ability of the Soul Fruit. The Dark Fruit, which once killed Blackbeard Teach and exploded, has been enhanced and evolved by Davy using the origin point, eliminating the weakness. Got more powerful abilities, and the tornado only shot once, that is, imprisoned Smoothie. What about Espada? What about the four emperors? Lousy must kill an emperor today. Davy is still very interested in the ability of Soul Fruit. At first glance, the other party still looks full. He is not SB rushing up to send people's heads. However, Kid is not completely brainless. He knows that he can't be Hannibal's opponent alone. Luo helplessly shook his head, and there is nothing to say now. Luo, give it to me, huh? How? Can't give magnetism. Keeping Aunt Linlin's life is precisely because Davy wants to deprive his devil fruit ability. Obviously, a battle is already inevitable. After that, she never made another move, because she had to be ready at any time to control and stabilize the island of ghosts that might collapse and fall at any time. Since Hannibal has defeated Big Mom, then he will defeat Hannibal. After all, there are 10,000 soldiers from the Christy Kingdom army on this island. Sections of the ruined walls were instantly controlled and smashed towards Hannibal. The rest of the pirate warriors died, and the army of their own king had to take care of them. Advertisement. But despite this, most of the live broadcast building was destroyed, and a huge hole was punched out on the outside floor. Has been watched by people. Damn it, that bastard woman. Since the battle was unavoidable, Luo no longer hesitated and made a decisive move. Kid once again controlled the big magnetic bolt attack, and he himself even raised his hand to point to Hannibal, so he wanted to give it a magnetic force and fix it on buildings such as towers. This blonde, wheat-colored Espada is so unethical. As a result, Hannibal suddenly appeared and robbed the head. Damn it, room. Baton, you guy. Kid is completely on top. What stopped Big Mom from going up to the rooftop battle? What Kaido of the beasts? The entire skeleton city on the island of Oni has been beaten to pieces because of the addition of Christy Kingdom. He must create a legend today and defeat four emperors. They have all beaten Big Mom to a dead end, and they have to use the final awakening big move to kill Big Mo. Chapter 231 The Powerful Strength of Crushing. Please complete the order. Previous chapter next chapter advertisement however, the moment he activated his ability, his complexion changed drastically, as if he had eaten shit, his face was constipated and shocked. He can even endow the four emperors Big Mom with magnetism, why can't the Espada woman in front of him? Kid didn't know the situation, but he was shocked. How can a low-level ability shake a high-dimensional power? A faint and indifferent voice sounded behind him. Kid turned around in horror and punched out. When Kid was shocked, how could this woman's speed be so fast and come behind him in an instant? Puff. As soon as the violent high-pressure water hit, Reiatsu broke out, and Kid was directly swept away by the violent high-pressure water. R.O. Kid, who was swept away by the high-pressure water and vomited blood, shouted. Got it, stop screaming. Luo's brows furrowed, and he waved the ghostly sword in his hand, puncture. Expanding the room space quickly, Luo, who replaced himself with a stone fragment, came to Hallibal's back. The Guiku Teidao suddenly stabbed out and was about to stab Hallibal in the back. Clang. However, when Luo's knife stabbed out, an indescribable solid barrier blocked it. The tip of the knife stabbed into the white uniform on Hallibal's back, but it couldn't pierce the slightest. How? Luo's pupils trembled in an instant. The one sword move that can pierce the flesh of Big Mom's steel balloon has failed. Then continued to work harder, pierce the waves. Luo clenched his teeth tightly, a wave of fluctuations appeared, and the ghost cry suddenly grew larger and longer, and layers of smoke and dust appeared around the blade. Click. Advertisement. A small voice sounded, and Luo's scalp tingled immediately. What did he see? His strongest blow actually just cracked the opponent's protective film. Got it. Suddenly realizing the terrifying strength of the other party, Luo instantly broke down in cold sweat, and a monster even more terrifying than the ant appeared. I'm thinking about running now, don't you think it's a little late? Turning around, Hallibal indifferently grabbed the Giku Teidao in Luo's hand, and his slender and white jade hand exerted force. Crack, crack. The terrifying power in Reiatsu become a force. The ghost forged by the famous craftsman was directly broken by Hallibal with his bare hands. How is this possible? Luo suddenly widened his eyes. Before he could react, too shocked, Hallibal raised his hand and slashed. Peefed. Cough puff. Bang. The shark-shaped sword slashed, bringing up a blood sword. Luo's chest and abdomen were directly cut open, blood sprayed out, and his body fell weakly to the floor. Luo, who was seriously injured lying on the floor, struggled for a while, but finally fainted out of power. Well done, you procrastinated me long enough. Suddenly, Kid's voice sounded. Hallibal turned around and looked at the figure in the sky. The indifference in his eyes remained unchanged. Deaf to me, Espada. Whether it's the four emperors old woman Big Mom or you Espada, Lousy can defeat them all. This is our new era. We are the kings of the new era. Electromagnetic gun. Boom. I saw Kid in the air. I don't know when a huge firearm has been formed, and the hollow muzzle gathers terrifying electromagnetic energy. Advertisement following Kid's shocking declaration, Ultimate's beam burst out, and the electromagnetic cannon with the aura of destruction blasted towards Hallibal. Ridiculous declaration, there is only one emperor on this sea. That is, Our Majesty the King, Emperor Sero. Hearing Kid's inexplicable announcement, Hallibal's beautiful face froze, and he slashed with a shark-shaped sword. The Golden Emperor Sero appears again. The pink-purple electromagnetic gunbeam collided with the Golden Emperor Sero, and was instantly swallowed and annihilated by the golden light. How is it possible? Impossible. Kid, who saw this scene, instantly stopped in Bangbu. This is the strongest move of his fruit ability awakening, not to mention destroying the opponent's attack. At least it should be evenly matched. Now it can't even stop it for a moment, and it's annihilated by it. Boom. The Skeleton City was once again penetrated by the Golden Sero, and the entire Skeleton City building shook and shook. Even the island of Oni has been greatly affected to varying degrees. The sky was still pierced, and the dissipated Reiatsu made the clouds unable to heal for a long time. Kaido of the Beasts, who was just about to cast the Thunder Strike of the Third World, was stunned by Luffy's Ape King spear. Crack clap. Live in the building. After a long while, the entire Skeleton City finally stopped shaking, and the falling gravel slowly became silent. The smoke and dust permeated the entire live broadcast building, and the crew members of the two pirates looked at the field with nervous, worried and fearful expressions. I prayed in my heart that the boss of my family would never die like this. What kind of emperor do you want to be? Toy Kid. When the smoke cleared, Hallibal's voice also came out, resounding throughout the live broadcast building. In front of her are the figures of Kid and Luo lying respectively. The state of the two at this time can be said to be completely on the verge of death. Advertisement. Kid's end was the worst. The red hair cut off his left arm, but now the other arm is gone, and even his left leg has disappeared. The chest and abdomen in front of him were also severely wounded, and although he was not dead, he was not far from death. Only, Hallibal's words came out. Kid and Luo couldn't answer, they were too seriously injured. It is a miracle that he is not dead now. 137. Captain. Boss. Big Mom and these two people, all three monsters have been defeated. Looking at Big Mom, Luo and Kid, who were all lying on the rubble. The crew of two pirates, and the pirates and samurai of the Beast's pirates. All of them were shocked and horrified. What a joke. This blonde woman is so scary, and the three of them together are not enough for her. Damn it. Get the captain back, they're dying. Little ones, let's go. Rescue the captain, boss. Oh, 66.99. The crew members of the two pirates showed indignation and rushed forward as if they were dying. Completely disregarding his own life, he must save the life of his own captain. Hannibal glanced at them indifferently. There is no intention to do anything to these miscellaneous soldiers. However, Hannibal didn't mean that. The soldiers of Christy Kingdom gathered around very sensible. They've been waiting for a long time, and now it's finally their turn to play a role. Chapter 232 The Plan of the Five Elders, please complete the order. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Presumptuous, the imperial concubine now dares to be rude. Take all these pirates down for me. 1,000 commander with a Dao strength value of more than 3,000 stood up and yelled angrily. Suddenly, groups of soldiers surrounded the pirates and arrested them all. Those who dared to resist showed no mercy, even the samurai who helped the people of Straw Hat Crew showed no mercy. Pick up the sword and kill. Seeing that his own captain was also treated for a short period of time, his life was saved, and there is no danger of death for the time being. For a time, the pirates were honest. At the same time, he was afraid of being killed. This group of soldiers was nothing like the ordinary soldiers they had encountered. The soldiers who surrounded them were all powerful, and they were almost the same as the big pirates who had been rewarded with tens of millions of Baileys. Lord Tia, what to do with these pirates? After suppressing the pirates on this floor, the commander came to Hannibal and knelt down on one knee and asked respectfully. Commander of the Thousands, the official position in the Christy Kingdom army is also equivalent to a major. And the major's strength level has basically reached the strength of Marine Vice Admiral. Compared with Naval Headquarters' official position and strength level, it is not too big. Detain the guards and wait for the decision. 39. Hannibal ordered indifferently. The commander nodded respectfully and gave the order to go. Now, the turmoil in the entire Oni Island has basically stopped, and the rest of the place is still continuing. But the war is almost over. Just look at the war on the roof of the Ghost Island. Hannibal's thoughts moved, and the monitoring flying eye flew leisurely in front of Hannibal. Following Hannibal's instructions, the surveillance flyer fixed his perspective on Luo and Kid, who were in a coma. Save their lives first. Inside King Christie's palace. Advertisement. Looking at the picture in front of him, Davy showed a look of interest. Magneto fruit ability and Op fruit ability. The fruit of these two guys is really good, and Davy is suddenly interested. Let Hannibal let his subordinates save their lives. Your Majesty, do you want to subdue them? Snowgirl Monet coughed twice and swallowed a large amount of nectar. Seeing Davy's interested expression, he couldn't help but ask curiously. Submit? Maybe. Davy suddenly looked strange. Luo's words, it's okay, with a medical crew team, it can be adapted and included in the kingdom. But Davy didn't like the Kid. Luo and his crew were able to form a medical unit. What can Kid be used for? Building the National Capital Industrial Railway. The guy who owns the Conqueror's hockey doesn't succumb to others. Using Hogyoku is like transforming Doflamingo, taking control of it. Never mind. Davy has no feelings for Kid. A guy who ravages towns and kills in order to increase his influence. There is no need for this, there is no use at all, it is more useful to kill him to obtain the origin point. At that time, he took action to directly deprive him of his magnetic fruit ability. Then kill it directly and it's over, earning a wave of origin points. With the strength of this guy, at least it must be worth 3 or 4,000 origin points, right? I have helped your sister, Sugar, to remove the shortcomings of the childlike fruit, and she can return to a normal age. Come to me tonight, the two of you, and I'll help you check the follow-up effects of your respective recovery. 35. Davy raised Monet's white chin, and Monet nodded in agreement with a blushing face. Advertisement. As soon as he mentioned his sister Sha Tang, Monet suddenly had a strange thought in his heart. Why is this master hobby so strange? Last time, I also called my sisters to receive guidance and practice together. Although Sugar appears to have the physical appearance of a 10-year-old, she is actually 22 years old. But, that was 3 years after all. Oh, granulated sugar is legal lowly, that's fine. Monet glanced at Davy angrily, and found that he was gagged again. Davy is very interested in the Oni-san and lowly granulated sugar. Using the power of Hogyoku deliberately, the deficiency of the fruit ability of Sugar was repaired. So that the current Sugar can become a little lowly with a 10-year-old appearance and a powerful Oni-san. Awesome. Huh? A little thief broke into the palace? Suddenly, Davy frowned. In his perception, an unfamiliar aura broke into the palace. Interesting, let me see who you are. The corners of Davy's mouth rose, his eyes narrowed, and an illusory picture was imprinted in his mind and appeared in his eyes. It's this guy. 35. Davy's mouth twitched slightly at the sight of the foreseeable future. He really is a little thief fox who is not afraid of death. How dare he attack the treasure house of his kingdom? As if thinking of something fun, Davy thought. One after another, the order was passed on. We can play next time. Red Line, Holy Land Marijoy. Pan-Ancient City. Supreme Power Conference Room. Hasn't CP0 caught Nico Robin and Trafalgar Law yet? 35. It's a bunch of rubbish, this thing can't be done well, even negotiating deals with those pirates can only be slaughtered. Advertisement, The old man has already said that the CP organization is too stable, so it should be broken up and rebuilt. Isn't Lucci's fellow reconstruction members? Several five elders were either standing or sitting talking. That fellow Roswald wanted to arrest Shirahoshi, the princess of the Moonlight Kingdom, to pay homage to his dead son. But she was killed by the strong Christy who guarded her. What do you guys think about this? Square-faced five elders said. HMPH, it's just a piece of trash. If you die, you will die. To provoke that man's woman, who is to blame? The bearded five elders said angrily. I couldn't help but be angry at the brainless actions of the family, Dai Hao Jiao. Not long ago, Saint Roswald, the father of Saint Charles Rose, who was beheaded by Davy in public. He fell in love with Shirahoshi and wanted to arrest him to pay homage to his son who was killed by Davy. Unexpectedly, he was mercilessly beheaded by Nilu, who accompanied Shirahoshi to the World Summit. Forget it, a mere descendant. The war in Wano has come to an end, and I have ordered the men of Naval Headquarters to be dispatched. We will soon arrive at Wano for harvesting. The bearded five elders said with a smile. Oh, how many high-end forces did you send? The rest of the five elders asked questions curiously. 3 admirals, 10 vice-admirals, 50,000 elite marines. The bearded five elders said. 66.99 Chapter 233. The angry CPO captain, please complete the order. Previous chapter next chapter advertisement. As soon as these words came out, the rest of the five elders were stunned. 3 admiral classes? Thinking of the scale of Wano war, several five elders frowned. 4 emperors must have at least 3 admirals in order to secure a complete suppression. And now Wano has 2 4 emperors allied together, 3 admiral level high-end combat power. How is it possible to take down both 4 emperors and take over Wano? In addition, not to mention that there is a foot in the kingdom of Christy. What they are about to face, there are at least 1 or 2 4 emperors. Several five elders looked at the bearded five elders with strange expressions and almost didn't say it. Are you the funny guy invited by the monkey? Are you sure that the marine fleet that was sent out was not sent to Wano to send people? Hey, how could the current 4 emperors still be in a state of full physical strength, and according to the information previously communicated by the CPO? Most of the power of those 2 4 emperors pirates had already been wiped out. The war in Wano has come to an end, and this is the best time to come in. Nothing can stop Marine's fleet from landing at Wano 35. Speaking of this, the bearded five elders showed a mysterious smile. The most important thing is that guy, but he also went to Wano 5. Since that's the case, then it shouldn't be a big problem. Hearing this, the other 5 elders looked relieved and nodded. If that guy is there, plus Marine's 3 admiral battle strength, it should be stable. After all, that was another 4 emperors pirate group. The Blackbeard pirates were wiped out by Davy 2 years ago. Advertisement Blackbeard Teach also failed to acquire Shockfruit's ability and was killed by Davy. The remnants of the Whitebeard pirates were later besieged by the army of Christy Kingdom, taking all their territory. There is no powerful pirate group above the sea that can snatch the territory of the Whitebeard pirate group and become the new 4 emperors. There are only 3 4 emperors on the sea now. However, the Straw Hat pirates were still enshrined as the new 4th emperor by Shijinbao. Monkey D. Luffy of 1.5 billion Baileys. By the time Marine's fleet arrives, the 2 4 emperors may be finished. They just have to deal with the armies of Christy's kingdom. Give CPO another order to immediately execute the Straw Hat Boy. When he thought that Devil Fruit had developed stronger and stronger on the Straw Hat Boy, he already possessed the combat power of the 4 emperors level. The 5 elders couldn't help but start to worry. The Devil Fruit that they chose to change its name to because it was too special. They felt a very bad feeling, and if they let it develop like this, I am afraid that the true power of its fruit may be unlocked. At that time, what this Devil Fruit represents will set off a terrible change. What is scary is not the ability of the fruit, but the meaning it represents. It's the kind of spirit that they hate and fear. The plan of the 5 elders is going on the other side of Wano Oni Island. Damn it, Izo, did you plan to die together from the beginning? Seeing his partner and Izo fall together, the CPO leader was furious. Why would the remnants of the Whitebeard pirates help those brats? Hurry up and grab Nico Robin and Trafalgar Law. Suddenly aware of his mission, he forced himself to calm down. Advertisement. At this moment, the call of a phone bug rang out in his arms. Pool puff puff. Ha ha ha, who is this? One after another. Don't you know this is a battlefield? 99. He breathed heavily and answered the phone worm impatiently. Listen, I'll pass on the orders of the 5 elders. A man's voice came from the phone bug, issued by the 5 elders personally, an edict. Chief CPO was startled and quietly waited for the other party's follow-up. Go and kill Straw Hat Luffy now. What, want me to kill the BIFD right now? You know what nonsense you're talking about. The Straw Hats are now fighting the 4 emperors Kaido of the beasts. You are now asking me to obstruct the battle between the 2 4 emperors, which is impossible. Hearing such an outrageous mission from the other end of the phone bug, the CPO captain immediately broke the defense. What a joke. Let him obstruct the battle between the 2 emperors. How many lives does he have, so he dares to do this? I know how difficult it is, this is something I know it's impossible and I have to do it. But precisely because this is a world-class battle, it is dangerous. Just be considerate, this is also an order issued just in case. The man's voice on the other end of the phone bug continued, his voice still speaking coldly.
Who would die so worthless bastard? The CPO captain snorted angrily. The current situation on the battlefield is unclear, whether it is possible to leave alive is another matter. This would give him another mortal mission, and he was almost so angry that he pointed the nose of the 5 elders and cursed his mother. Advertisement. Our master's information is only at the rumored level.
Don't worry, as long as the Straw Hat Boy is eliminated, it doesn't matter if the other tasks are not completed. Silence. Hearing this, the CPO captain was completely speechless.
What kind of secret was there on that Straw Hat kid, which actually alarmed the 5 elders, and even uttered the words just in case?
Abandon the task of capturing Nico Robin and Trafalgar Law, but also the first task to complete.
The CPO captain suddenly felt a great pressure, and the unknown terrible.
Gritting his teeth, he finally chose to obey the order. Just as he was about to leave, Drake in the form of an orc dragon man dodged and came behind him. An unexpected sword pierced through his back, ha, ha. Drake, who was already seriously injured and almost exhausted, gasped. The long sword in his hand stably penetrated the back of the CPO captain and stabbed out from the chest. Drake, tell me what you're doing, ha, ha. This is the justice in my heart. Drake said bluntly, I really envy you, Drake.
Whoa, shave. After saying that, the figure of the CPO captain suddenly disappeared, and there was a sharp sound of breaking in the air, and then the figure of the CPO captain appeared again. Clenching his fist, he popped a finger, wrapped armament hockey, and stabbed Drake's neck directly. Chapter 234 The CPO of the Sneak Attack. Luffy is dead. Please complete the order.
Previous chapter next chapter advertisement, woo.
The black finger pistol was as fast as a thunderbolt, piercing directly into Drake's neck, spraying out a large amount of blood. Drake screamed and fell back weakly. Only you, living like a human being, can make your own choices, Drake. With a sigh, after dealing with Drake, the CPO captain turned around and left, and went to the top of the Skull Circle on the Island of Ghosts. He's going to kill the Straw Hat Boy. Skull Dome.
Kaido in human orc form, knocks Luffy into the air.
One more blow. This is my final blow. If I need to or can't beat it, that's my loser. 39. Rubber. Luffy frantically sucked back the strength that was spit out, and said. Come on, brat, haha, haha, I haven't played so well in a long time. Lei Ru, tyrant. Just when Luffy stood up again, the dash of frantically flying under his feet was about to launch the final blow of the remaining strength.
A figure quickly rushed over from the hole in the dome, and suddenly came behind Luffy. Luffy was about to explode with all his strength, when he suddenly felt that his body was being imprisoned from behind. Iron body. 35 looking slightly sideways, he found that it was a man wearing an iron mask with his mouth and jaw exposed, hugging him from behind.
Kaido's eyes widened abruptly, seeing the sudden appearance of the CPO captain who imprisoned Luffy, and became extremely unhappy. But at this time, he couldn't stop it, and it was even more impossible to stop there. Therefore, Bajijia brought the tyrant and blue lightning, and smashed it down.
Advertisement, The huge tyrannical fist of the right arm could not be swung out, and the battle with Kaido's 8 fasting mace was decisive. Luffy was stunned and anxious, looking at the infinitely enlarged mace in his sight, struggling to break free from the captivity of the CPO captain. Finally, at the last second of the mace's fall, the CPO captain let go of Luffy's full iron body imprisonment. The mace smashed on Luffy's body, and the terrifying force directly slammed Luffy into the ground, and the ground collapsed and crumbled.
A large amount of smoke was set off, and Luffy screamed again and again, spitting out blood. A large amount of energy formed smoke gushing out from Luffy's mouth, and the powerful release force flew out, and Luffy's huge and bulging body was taken to the sky. Then the strength dissipated, and Luffy returned to his skinny appearance.
In the same way, the breath belonging to Luffy has disappeared. Lu, Luffy's voice. Can't hear it. Momonosuke, who was dragging Onigashima Island, was startled and looked up in disbelief in the direction of the Skull Dome.
Hoo. Tisk. Kaido in the form of a dragon man sullenly clenched the Hachiji mace in his hands, looked at the silent CPO captain, and said. You should know the consequences of doing so, CPO. The CPO captain didn't make any answer. Death to lousy.
Bang bang. With a loud bang, Kaido raised the mace in his hand, wrapped in lightning and smashed it down. After solving the CPO captain, Kaido looked at the 2 Starkle Annette in the sky.
Seeing that the 2 still didn't respond, he couldn't help frowning.
The Straw Hat Boy was killed by him, why didn't these 2 guys do it? Well, it's time to declare the victory of the war. Kaido thought that maybe these 2 were frightened by the strength he showed and didn't dare to shoot. No longer confused. Advertisement transformed into a huge cyan dragon and flew into the underside of the huge hole. Go and declare the death of the Straw Hat and declare victory. It's strange that this kid isn't dead yet. Lynette looked at Kaido who flew down from Skull City, and turned to look at Luffy who was lying dead. A force is waking up within him, it seems that there is another soul's will? Delusion? Stark frowned. Cannot help but feel a while strange.
In the city, boom, the huge cyan dragon smashed the floor and appeared in front of everyone. Straw Hat Luffy is dead. Who else wants to resist? Sign up for me, and I will destroy them all with my own hands. Where is your admiral? Let Momonosuke issue a declaration of surrender. Kaido's arrogant Haki's voice resounded through the city like a bell.
The pirates and samurai of Beast's pirates were excited. ***. Kaido, did Boss Kaido actually kill the Straw Hat?
Ha ha ha, I'll just say, how can a stinking brat beat Boss Kaido? Boss Kaido won, it was great. 35. In the soldier camp of Christy Kingdom, Kid and Luo, who were lying on the emergency stretcher, opened their eyes weakly.
The voice of the Straw Hat Master has disappeared.
It was an unreal dream. We were defeated by Espada, and the Straw Hats were killed.
I don't have the extra strength to resist anymore, I failed.
Kid secretly hates it. Advertisement. There is nothing to say so far. They were captured by the kingdom of Christy. Even if the Straw Hat Luffy wins, their life and death are still unknown. Hearing Kaido's announcement, the people of Straw Hat Crew suddenly felt like a bolt from the blue, unable to accept this fact.
Together with the rebels, they collapsed, shouting that it was impossible, and fell into despair.
It's so noisy. Give it to me. To shut up. Boom. Suddenly, a coquettish sound exploded. A terrifying force emerged from the void, suppressing all the noise. What kind of power is this? Kaido was shocked to find that at the moment when this power erupted, he was actually suppressed. How can that be? Kaido's expression was very terrifying, and his face was full of astonishment. He looked up and saw the source of the voice that suddenly spoke to suppress the audience.
I saw a girl with green curly hair exuding green fluorescence all over her body, suspended in midair, looking down at the audience with a cold and arrogant face.
Really, it is obviously a group of defeated generals, but it seems that the one who has won a big victory is. Wu Yongyong is so noisy. As the sound of the tornado fell, everyone was immediately embarrassed to find out. It seems so. In particular, the alliance forces of the 2-4 Emperor's pirates fell silent in embarrassment. How is this going? Hearing this, it doesn't matter if Kaido doesn't take a closer look, he will take a closer look, and his eyes will suddenly bulge. Almost dropped my jaw in astonishment. Chapter 235 Awakening. 5th Gear Luffy. Please order all. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. His grandmas.
What about his pirate samurai subordinates? What about his capable cadres?
Why all the F-King lie down? Looking around, all of them are armored soldiers wearing white armor and printed with dragon patterns. There are also some rebels from the Straw Hat Crew and Kazuki's old party.
And all his subordinates were suppressed. Kaido, who saw this scene, was completely dumbfounded. ***me. Unable to hold back, Kaido burst out in shock. What exactly is going on? A group of trash, have all been defeated. Kaido's shocked expression subsided, turning gloomy and livid.
The fierce dragon eyes glanced at the audience, staring at the position of Tornado and the others in amazement. Forget it, 140, group of trash, as long as I'm still here, I can save everything and make the beast's pirates even stronger. Seeing the suppressed subordinates in the field, Kaido's anger gradually subsided. Calmness was restored again. He is the fundamental force to end the war. As long as he can fight and defeat everyone, he is still the 4 emperors. The army of Christy Kingdom. The damn old skeleton is not here, then you all die here. It's time to take a good look at the accounts from 2 years ago.
Glancing at the crowd, he still didn't find the old skeleton man. Kaido's heart was instantly settled. It became arrogant and domineering directly. Open your mouth and spit out a fireball.
Fire. Advertisement. Seeing the flames spit out from Kaido's mouth, the others hadn't moved yet, and Natsu in the crowd instantly lit up. The figure flashed out, and under the shocked gaze of almost everyone, he opened his mouth and swallowed it. Grumble. Everyone in the entire hall watched Natsu devour the flames with a stunned expression on his face. Flame. Eaten. Well, what's the situation? Humans actually ate the flames unscathed. Is this guy a monster? 66.99. Sanji, who is a remodeler, was the most shocked. His body has been remodeled since he was a child, so that he can display the attacking body technique that flames wrap around his legs.
The way Natsu devoured the flames really shocked him. Nami Chopper, Xiaoyu, Leopard Guro and the other samurai were all shocked and horrified.
Tisk, it's a bit unpalatable, this flame. Not magic, but another strange energy. 35. After eating the great fireball that Kaido erupted, Natsu stuck out his tongue and wiped the corners of his mouth in disgust. However, the power is still coming. After eating Kaido's breath fireball, Natsu grinned and bumped his fist. As if in between, everyone seemed to hear the excited BGM sound.
You boy, who is it? Seeing this scene, Kaido narrowed his eyes, exuding an oppressive conqueror's haki. The berserk conqueror's haki rolled towards Tornado and the others, the strongest of which shrouded Natsu's body. Humph. Your imposing oppression is useless to me. Conqueror's haki. Compared to when he was young, he always had to face the oppression of Longwei from his father, but don't be too weak. It is the huge gap between the sky and the earth, and it is not an order of magnitude at all. Advertisement. Beat this guy to the ground. 35. Tornado stared coldly at Kaido, the blue dragon, with frost on his face. Clearly, Kaido's rampant arrogance made her uncomfortable. Wano Kuni. The elephant owner who was approaching Wano Kuni Island suddenly stopped, and his heart sounded.
It's so nostalgic. I heard the sound of the drums of liberation.
Heard it again after 800 years, no doubt, in this place.
Who? Elephant Lord, what are you talking about? Who is it? Hearing the sudden voice of the Elephant Master, Momonosuke was shocked and asked quickly. But the Elephant Lord did not answer his question, but continued to talk to himself. Joey boy, it's back. Elephant Lord's empty and vicissitudes of ancient eyes, staring at the position on the dome of Oni Island skeleton. The infinite anticipation and joy in my heart are constantly emerging. On the skull dome, Luffy's subconscious is reviving, and a strange heartbeat sound is playing.
Why, what's wrong with me? I've already been defeated.
But became happy again. Open black lens bracket dong dong dong. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket dong 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 dong. Close black lens bracket. Joy boy. Momonosuke stood up in surprise, and the dragon head was startled. You mean Luffy? Yamato, who stepped on Momonosuke's dragon's back, questioned. Like the Lord, it said so. Momonosuke responded hesitantly.
Advertisement, I can do everything I want to do. It looks like I can keep fighting. The sound of the heartbeat is so funny. This is my peak. This is my fifth gear. Scenes and scenes continued to emerge in my mind, and endless power emerged.
Luffy's appearance began to change, his horns rose and he grinned. With the awakening and revival of the Luffy fruit, a terrifyingly powerful conqueror's haki is unleashed, sweeping across the island. The powerful black and red lightning swept wildly, and even slammed into the first floor of the city, shocking almost everyone in an instant. Something on the roof. Feeling the powerful strength of this conqueror's haki, Kaido suddenly raised his head and stared at the hole in the roof. Hey, is that the Straw Hat's voice? It's weird, it seems to be talking to us from the bottom of my heart. Is this 5.3 Luffy's voice? Who released this conqueror's? Luffy, he's still alive, haha, 66.99. All of a sudden, everyone was amazed. Unexpectedly, Luffy was still alive, the people of the Straw Hat Pirates were overjoyed, and Nami Chopper was so excited that he burst into tears and hugged happily. Kid and Luo, who were seriously injured and on the verge of death, felt a little relieved in their hearts. If you don't die, as long as you can defeat Kaido, everything will turn around. Boom. Sudden, a huge giant arm poked through the hole in the roof and grabbed Kaido's long body. Chapter 236 Dragon Slayer vs Chinglong Kaido. Please complete order.
Previous chapter next chapter advertisement, woo, 9. Huh? 99 Everyone was shocked. Where did this giant arm come from?
Kaido exclaimed and was dragged up. Natsu rushed over and grabbed Kaido's dragon beard. Damn it, let me go. It hurts. Kaido, who was caught by the dragon's beard, screamed in agony.
It's okay to grab his dragon beard, and his body is scorching hot, burning him so badly. It's almost hot, on the roof,
Ooh, stop asshole. 35. Kaido is grabbed by the gigantic Luffy with his thick-muscled arms and thrown around, spinning and smashing hard.
Straw Hat Boy, are you still alive? 39 On the dome, Luffy's incarnation of a sturdy giant grabbed the blue dragon Kaido and kept spinning and throwing it. Kaido's eyes were about to be dazzled, and he screamed in amazement. The Straw Hat Boy was obviously beaten to death by him, and he had lost his breath before. Why is he now looking like this alive and well? The sturdy muscle of the arm hooked, squeezing his dragon body to the point of excruciating pain. The terrifying power made Kaido uncomfortable and confined to the extreme. Heat breath. However, it doesn't matter why the Straw Hat is still alive. What's important is that he wants the Straw Hat to kill him again. Ha ha ha, ah ha ha, ha ha, thank you. 6695 Luffy, who was resurrected from Fruit Awakening, smiled happily while fighting. Advertisement, EH. Seeing Kaido exhaling fiery breath, he hurriedly screamed and grabbed to the ground. Immediately, the ground was touched by Luffy's hands, turned into a rubber skin, and was lifted directly by him. He. Let's go. Turning into a fat muscular man with white hair like flames, Luffy, whose body was surrounded by flames, wrinkled his face tightly, struggling to grab the ground that had turned into a rubber cortex. Boom. The hot breath hit the rubber ground, and a violent explosion occurred. Ah-hee-hee. Blocking the heat, Luffy covered his face and laughed nonstop. Kaido's new look was reflected in Kaido's eyes, and his eyes changed. I'm sorry for being stupid just now, I don't want to win like that. 55. Rarely, Kaido actually apologized to Luffy, to the CPO captain who just intervened and won the battle. People who don't know Kaido's true temperament think Kaido is really a hero. Only a few people know that Kaido is just a sinister villain. Oh, there is also a most colorful identity, that is, the special training instructor. For the development of personal fruit ability, create a series of special training for devils, so that the strength of supernovas can be improved by leaps and bounds. One of the most outstanding students is Straw Hat Luffy. Luffy owes Kaido a respectful, guide teacher, ahem. Pull away. Don't worry, let's make a break, ahahaha. Hearing the words, Luffy didn't care too much, but thanked Kaido instead. Let him successfully awaken the fruit's ability and liberate the true ability of the fruit. I thought you were dead. Kaido frowned, feeling very strange looking at Luffy in a brand new look. Me too, ahaha. 35 Advertisement Luffy's body changed back to his normal, thin body, but his hair and eyebrows were still like burning clouds. His body was still surrounded by flames, and his clothes were also affected by his awakening. After being affected, the whole body changes into white. Other things were also affected and started to rubberize. Hoo-hoo. It was a good scene to see the awakening of the Paramecia fruit. But it's a bit strange, transformation should be Zone's exclusive ability, right? Kaido fell into deep thought, his face was gloomy, and he was about to slaughter and swallow Luffy. Cough puff puff. Ah, I ate a mouthful of sand, cough. Point 35. That is, when the two of them are in full swing, they are about to start a fierce battle. An untimely voice sounded suddenly. Natsu crawled out of the mound and vomited wildly. He flew up just now holding Kaido's dragon beard, but unexpectedly, he was thrown wildly by Luffy who was holding Kaido. As a result, it fell into the soil. It's you who just ate my flame. 55. Seeing the figure that suddenly appeared, Kaido's dragon eyes suddenly stared, and stopped the momentum of culling. Just now, this little devil ate his flames with his flesh and blood, but he was startled. Is this guy a Mera fruit capable person? Huh? Who is this guy? Luffy is also surprised to see Natsu. Is there anyone else intervening in their battle? Yo, it can be said to have followed. 39. After spitting up the sand in his mouth, Natsu grinned, looked at Kaido, and said with high fighting spirit. You are really interesting, you have a completely different form from the giant dragons in my world. Interesting, I'm on fire, just let me be your opponent. As soon as these words came out, not only Kaido's face was gloomy, but even Luffy's face changed suddenly. Advertisement. After being beaten for so long, he even came back to life, awakened the true ability of the fruit, and gained a powerful power beyond the past. Just to defeat Kaido, and now there is a guy the first don't know at all, who actually came out and said he was going to rob his enemy. Rao is Luffy's special state of bringing joy and freedom to people at the moment, and he can't help but feel a little unhappy. 66 inches. Hey, this guy is my enemy, I will defeat it, don't interfere. Luffy shouted directly to chase people away. Hey, little devil, don't think you can beat me if you eat my flames. 35. Go away for lousy. Kaido also spoke out with an ugly face. Just because of the intervention of the CPO captain, I accidentally solved the Luffy victory. It also made him very nervous. Now Luffy is resurrected, and he seems to be very powerful. Kaido was just getting excited, and he was very disgusted by Naza's appearance. Heat. 35. Kaido didn't intend to talk nonsense anymore, and a fiery breath spurted out, killing Natsu. Different from the attack of the flame ball, this is a breath formed entirely by scorching high temperature, not a flame. Kaido mistakenly thought that Natsu was eating a fire-like fruit. Since you can eat flames, can you still swallow the breath formed by the high temperature? Die, kid, Kaido said fiercely. Hey, just this temperature, it's a long way off. Natsu pouted, smiled proudly, and then his face changed, becoming serious and full of magic power. Fire dragons. Roar. Boom. Putting his hands on his mouth, the fire-red magic circle was highlighted, and a fiery giant column of flames shot out suddenly. Chapter 237. Natsu vs Kaido. Luffy, please complete order. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Rough magical flames roared out like a huge tornado.
As soon as the terrifying flame appeared, the surrounding temperature suddenly rose.
The ground was destroyed by the roaring flames, forming a dent more than 10 centimeters deep. In the blink of an eye, meet Kaido's hot breath. Boom. Two terrifying fiery energies bombarded the waves, a terrifying heat wave swept through, a big explosion occurred on the entire dome, and a violent hot wind hunted. So hot, raising his hand to block the heat wave, Luffy couldn't help but marvel. The look in Natsu's eyes also became serious. This is also a formidable enemy. But compared to him, Luffy doesn't think he is any weaker. How much suffering and hard work did he suffer in exchange for the strength of his current body? It's just that Luffy doesn't know, compared to him. In a sense, Natsu is more open-minded than him. Luffy's grandfather, Marine hero Garp Vice Admiral. Natsu's older brother, the dark boss behind the scenes, Jeff, the ancestor of the Black Magician, the creator of the Devil. 140. Luffy's father, Dragon, the leader of the Revolutionary Army. Natsu's father, the Dragonfire Dragon King. Luffy's partner, the Straw Hat Pirates.
Natsu's partner, the Fairy Tail Guild. Advertisement. All-round sling. In comparison, Luffy was completely pressed and rubbed by Natsu. The power system level of the world is also very different, and there is not much comparability.
At least, Davy, who is watching the final war in Wano at this time, is very interested in the two sons of the world who are about to fight.
Hey, his opponent is me, you get out of the way. Otherwise, I'll fight you too. Rubber and rubber. Giant's fist. The shock wave of the heat breath and the flame roar disappeared, and Luffy couldn't help it.
Dodging to the top of Kaido's head, he punched out, and the rubber arm was instantly ejected for dozens of meters.
Boom. Kaido was caught off guard and took the punch. Puff. The power of this punch was beyond Bifd's expectations. Kaido felt a pain in the dragon's face, and a large mouthful of saliva was punched out.
Before he could react, Luffy grabbed his neck, and his body suddenly swelled up, transforming into a giant with a height of tens or hundreds of meters. He grabbed the head and tail of Kaido's blue dragon form and danced like a skipping rope. Kaido was completely bewildered by Luffy's wake-up call.
Rubber rubber. Jump rope. Grabbing the 100-meter-long dragon, Luffy smiled and started jumping rope. Luffy's reckless fruit awakening ability, and the appearance of transformation not only confused Kaido.
Even Momonosuke, who was dragging Onigashima, and Yamato, who was standing on his back, were deeply shocked and stunned. Ha ha ha, it's so interesting, is this the devil fruit ability of this world? It's very similar to the giant magic of the elders. Advertisement. Natsu pouted, looking at Luffy's giant form, inexplicably thinking of his own guild elder. He grinned at the thought of his daily adventures, bickering and fighting with his friends. What a joke, this dragon, my uncle also took a fancy to it. I will never let you go. The flame of the fire dragon, 55.
After saying that, Natsu rushed towards Kaido and Luffy with a fighting spirit. The body suddenly stepped heavily, the whole person flew up, and fierce dragon flames rose from the whole body.
The flames of the fire dragon emerged from both hands, and with a loud shout, the flames burning on the palms of the two arms approached, and instantly merged into a huge dragon flame fireball.
The moment the dragon flame fireball formed, Natsu input a lot of magic power again. In an instant, the size of the dragon flame fireball soared, turning into a tens of meters huge, exuding a terrifying high temperature that made the void distorted by transpiration. Go! Natsu grinned and threw the dragon flame fireball in his hand, and the void passed by the dragon flame distorted. Kaido and Straw Hat Luffy, who felt the terrifying high temperature energy, were shocked.
What the hell is this? It's hot, aw so hot. Hey, what a big fireball, 35, woo, it's burning me, 39. Both Kaido and Luffy saw this fiery fireball approaching rapidly, and the scorching heat became more and more outrageous.
The two were so frightened that they quickly let go of each other and hurriedly dodged beside them.
Boom. The next moment, the Longyan bullet almost wiped the two of them down and exploded. Advertisement. The terrifying flame explosion shockwave spread, and a high-temperature hot air wave swept in all directions. Kaido and Luffy hadn't run far before they were affected, and the scorching heat made them scream in surprise.
The terrifying power of the dragon flame bullet exploded, and for a while, the sand and stone were blown away, and the dust and mist lingered.
As the smoke cleared, Kaido and Luffy appeared. Kaido's dragon tail is directly bald, exuding the aroma of scorched meat. However, Luffy showed no signs of being burned at all.
Damn Straw Hat, you actually took Lousy's tail to block the fire. 39. Kaido roared in rage. Just at the moment when the fireball exploded, the Straw Hat Luffy actually turned back, hugged his tail, and let him kick him to take the explosion damage. Don't say that, anyway, your vitality is strong, when you change back to human form, won't the tail be gone? Luffy smiled meanly. While speaking, out of the corner of his eyes, he looked at the big pit that was blasted out by Natsu, and was secretly surprised and sweated.
The terrifying pit extended to the 4 floors below, and most of the floors were smashed to pieces. Fortunately, the personnel were all evacuated to the lower floors, otherwise, I don't know how many people would have died this time. Oh, there are still many seriously injured and unconscious allied beasts that have not withdrawn, Forget it, since you are courting death, then squeeze both of you to death.
When I get rid of you, I will kill all those rebels. Oni Island will still be executed according to the original plan. Wano will become my flying fortress to overthrow the world and rule the world. 35.
Kaido in the form of a blue dragon shouted angrily, his majestic and domineering arrogance continued. Chapter 238 Luffy who consumes life, please complete the order. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement, speaking so much nonsense, can the battle continue?
The Iron Fist of the Fire Dragon. 35. Seeing the appearance of Kaido's mouth cannon, Natsu was not interested in picking up the slaughter, and dodged in front of Kaido, and threw a punch wrapped in flames. Oh, kid, you are courting death. 3 worlds Yina Luo. Knowing that his blue dragon form is a living target, Kaido directly switched back to the human and beast form, his face was gloomy, and his voice was dull and majestic. Looking at Natsu coming towards him, Kaido shouted angrily, and a thunderbolt fell from the sky. At the same time, Kaido's body suddenly jumped up, holding up the 8 fasting mace in his hand. Conqueror's Haki entangles, black lightning swept away, cyan lightning accompanied the mace heavy smashing.
A terrifying blow formed by the intertwining of multiple forces.
The terrifying power emanating from this blow is daunting, and the strong and domineering will makes people fear and flee. Natsu smiled excitedly, and without any hesitation, went up to meet him without retreating at all. The fiery dragon flame wraps the fists, and the flesh and blood shakes the iron rods and the power of conquerors and thunder. Bang bang. What? The next moment, the two will face each other, and the iron fist and the iron rod will face each other. Natsu cried out in pain, but he also received Kaido's terrifying blow, and the ground under his feet burst and collapsed. Kaido's brows twitched, and he looked at Natsu who took his blow with just one iron fist. He couldn't help but feel astonished. Kaido's eyes became serious and he said, "Hey, what's your name?" 9. He recognized Natsu's strength. I'm interested in Natsu's strength, so I can't help but formally ask Natsu's name.
The guy in front of him deserves to be taken seriously.
Advertisement. Natsu Dragneel, remember it for me, it's my name. Looking at Kaido's serious expression, Natsu responded solemnly. Okay, now, I'll ask you to die. Thunder 8 trigrams. Kaido nodded, then his face changed slightly, he swung the Bazai mace back, followed by the crackling of thunder and lightning, and slammed it towards Natsu again. I can stand still and be beaten stupidly. 99. In the face of the thundering mace that came swiftly and violently, Natsu flickered, dodging the thundering 8 trigrams who had snatched it, and stomped on his sturdy arm. The horn of the fire dragon. The body radiating dragon flame suddenly jumped up and slammed into Kaido's jaw. Quack. Ooh. 35. The whole body is wrapped in dragon flames, and the power generated by the high-speed impact mainly on the head, directly knocks Kaido's huge body into the air. Roar of the dragon. After hitting Kaido with one blow, Natsu kept attacking, clasped his hands in front of his mouth, took a deep breath and roared. The blazing pillar of flame is like a tornado, and it is about to knock down Kaido, who flew out, and it will devour it and burn it to pieces. Whoop. Tornado. Kaido is also a strong man who has been fighting for decades. He immediately switched back to the form of a blue dragon, and his body was entrenched in high-speed rotation, producing high-speed rotating wind walls and wind blades. The wind blade blazed, swept across the tornado of the pillar of flame, was swallowed and annihilated in an instant, and the fire dragon roared heavily on Kaido's high-speed rotating body. Suddenly, the fire burst, the wind wall was broken, the fire dragon roared and pushed him out for dozens of meters, and the terrifying power of the dragon flame burned the flesh and blood on his body. The blue dragon scales seemed to fall off after being roasted. Who? Stinky brat. Bad wind. The scorching temperature made Kaido scream a few times, his anger rose, his body rolled, and the flames on his body were extinguished.
Flicking his body angrily, dozens of bad wind blades shot out. Hey, Kaido is up to me. Get out of the way, rubber rubber.
Advertisement. Aside, Luffy, who saw the two fighting, was also a little angry. Hastily dodged to the sky above Kaido, his right arm twirled wildly like a hot wheel. Then a punch slammed out, and the arm instantly stretched dozens of meters.
As a result, before his fist hit Kaido, the latter immediately switched to human beast form, and his body flashed and disappeared.
Immediately behind Luffy, Luffy turned his head back in astonishment. Kaido grinned, black lightning intertwined with cyan lightning, and he fell directly with one stick.
Bang bang bang. Luffy's head was smashed directly into the roof, breaking through the floors of the ceiling, stuck in the ceiling, and appeared in the sight of everyone in the city. It hurt so much, in an instant, the huge white head rolled its eyes, frightening the many pirate warriors. Even the soldiers of Christy Kingdom were frightened by Luffy, and Tornado Hallible and others were stunned.
Ah, damn it. Ask for flowers.
The pirates of the Straw Hat Alliance instantly widened their eyes and looked at the sudden appearance of Luffy's head with a look of horror. Farinini. Luffy tugged his head hard, trying to pull his head back to the roof. After a while, under the frightened and sluggish gazes of his partners, he shrank his head back.
Like the characters of a picture story. Looking at Luffy who was changing and fighting freely, Kaido couldn't help sighing. It's really interesting performance, judging from the current ending, aren't you reaching your limit again? You can't beat me, kid. Kaido grinned, holding his mace against his shoulder. Pain. I'm exhausted. Luffy's huge body shrank rapidly and collapsed on the ground, tired. Advertisement. Point 0. Noisy. You, who are you saying you've reached the limit? Luffy stuck out his tongue in exhaustion, retorting Kaido. Yet Luffy was still stubborn. The next moment, Kaido and Natsu saw a huge change in Luffy. I saw that the white color of Luffy quickly receded and returned to its original state. With the disappearance of the awakening state, Luffy's whole body also instantly aged several decades, with loose skin and dull eyes.
Who is your kid? 39, become an old man, 99.
Kaido and Natsu were instantly stunned. Look, I look like I'm about to die, this move is really expensive. Luffy said panting tiredly. Die in peace, your battles will be preached. Said 35 Kaido. No, this kind of after-death thing. If I die, my friends and everyone will become bones, he. A friend who has died, it won't end. I'm going to bring you down. Liberate Wano-kuni. In an instant, the awakened ability reappeared, and Luffy smiled happily. Do you think I'd be afraid of this? Beat. Heartbeat. Come on. This, voice. The endless fighting spirit erupts, and the heartbeat drumbeat of liberating freedom is reproduced. Luffy's eyes were firm, and the happy smile on his face couldn't stop. Chapter 239 Lei Yanlong Mode. Please complete the order. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. La. Hey, go to hell, kid.
Kaido grinned and held his mace high, waving his arms. The black mace turned into an afterimage.
Exactly what I want. Drink. The black and red lightning swept wildly, the cyan thunder flashed, and the unstoppable slashed towards the reawakened Luffy with a cheerful look on his face. Dangerous Luffy. 35. In the sky outside Onigashima, Yamato exclaimed while standing on Momonosuke's back. Looking at Luffy who jumped up cheerfully with a smile on his face was full of worry. Despite the promise of a tornado, Yamato was a little worried if Luffy's power wasn't there. Will Wano-kuni be freed because of this? Afterwards, the bloody head he imagined didn't appear, and Yamato watched as Kaido slapped Luffy in the head. And then Luffy's head was like a dented oak, 140, skin, without actually taking any serious damage. This scene surprised both Yamato and Kaido. Ah, it hurts. The head was beaten into a C shape with a stick. Luffy, who had a thorn on his face, cried out in pain, and fled from Kaido's attack range as if his legs had turned into hot wheels. Where to run, kid? Slam. Seeing Luffy fleeing, Kaido glared angrily and swung his mace in pursuit. Kaido's mace slammed into Luffy, the ground twisting and denting like rubber. And Luffy's body suddenly ejected and took off, rolling in his mouth and crashing into a huge rock, and his whole body became like a piece of shit. After a few countdowns, he suddenly ejected again, his arms and fists clenched and rotated, turning into a big windmill, entwined with conquerors and armed colors, and attacking Kaido. Hey, don't forget there's me too. Fire Dragon's Wing Strike. Advertisement. At the same time, Natsu's voice also came from the side. The whole person was like a fire dragon soaring with wings, and the two arms were wrapped around the flames of the huge fire dragon. Huge flame wings attacked Kaido. Facing the attacks from left and right, Kaido swung the mace wrapped around Conqueror's Haki and Armament Haki, and slammed Luffy hard. No one in this world can beat me. Bang! Luffy's fist directly penetrated Kaido's head, and then, countless windmill fists attacked, constantly bombarding Kaido's body, until it flew out. The next moment, Natsu's fire dragon's wing strikes followed, two huge flame wing strikes covered Kaido and Luffy, and the dragon flames slapped down. Wow, so hot. Woo. The two people who were covered and slapped by the violent fire dragon flames were burned and screamed in pain. The three of them were completely mixed up in a chaotic battle. You come and go, collide and fight with each other, all thinking about knocking down each other, and the stamina consumed suddenly doubled. Jundali, Long Shungjin. Kaido let out a loud drink, clenched the Bajiji mace and smashed it with a gust of wind. Originally, there was still a lot to talk about, but because of Natsu's involvement, Kaido didn't have any extra time to BBW. Kill the Straw Hat Boy first. Kaido's mind is very clear, as long as the leader of the Straw Hat, the spiritual leader of the rebel army is defeated and killed.
The rebel army is nothing to be afraid of, it is a mob.
Countless iron rods turned into afterimages, black lightning swept wildly, and Luffy who just got up was instantly covered by mace. Bang bang bang. Whoa, whoa, asshole. The body was continuously attacked and deformed, and after screaming a few times, Luffy cursed with an ugly face. He also waved his fists, turned it into a machine gun-like attack, and blasted Kaido away. Advertisement. Kaido turned his body and stood firmly on the ground, showing a sinister smile. Haha, the city below is already surrounded by war. Sooner or later, thousands of subordinates and partners under your command will be burned to death. The following things are all left to them, I just need to defeat you. Luffy's face condensed when he heard the words, and then he smiled again, trusting his friends incomparably. Not at all affected by Kaido's words. Boom. The natural thundercloud rolls, and the lightning flashes. Luffy suddenly jumped into the sky, and a thick thunder and lightning struck down. Luffy reached out and grabbed it.
Under Kaido's astonished gaze, he grabbed it in his hands. What? Can even catch lightning? What kind of outrageous fruit awakening ability is this?
Kaido was shocked. The fruit awakening displayed by this kid completely subverted Kaido's cognition. He had never seen such outrageous, free-spirited fruit power. Onigashima, I'm going to fall. Luffy with thunder in his hand looked at Kaido with a heavy face and smiled. Kaido stared at him speechlessly, knowing what he meant. The meaning is to defeat him, and then the ending of Onishima's fall.
Have you caught the thunderbolt in your hand? It's ridiculous. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo.
If you can do it, just give it a try. Kid, Kaido sneered.
Just caught the thunder and lightning, how dare you be so arrogant? On the side, looking at the lightning that kept hitting the sky, Natsu was a little greedy. He should be able to swallow these lightning bolts, right?
Rubber rubber. Thunder. Advertisement. It is still the name of the move before activating the fruit ability. Before the end of the speech, Luffy threw the thunderbolt in his hand. Immediately afterwards, Luffy stretched out his hand again, grabbed another lightning bolt, and threw it at Natsu. Luffy didn't forget that this Sakura-colored haired boy was also his enemy. Ooh, a thunderbolt. Then I'm welcome. Feeling the power of thunder and lightning thrown by Luffy, Natsu grinned.
He suddenly opened his mouth wide, took a sharp breath, and the terrifying sturdy thunderbolt was directly sucked into his mouth. What? Seeing this scene, Kaido and Luffy, who avoided the lightning attack, widened their eyes.
I was almost taken aback by the scene in front of me. Kaido is even more embarrassed. Before this 5.3 kid devoured his flames, and now he can devour lightning. What kind of fruit power is this? It's not enough. Give me all down. After eating a thunderbolt, Natsu roared in dissatisfaction, a huge amount of magic power erupted, and the thunderbolt in the thundercloud in the sky was pulled. A steady stream of thunder and lightning roared down, and smoke and dust were everywhere. On Kaido and Luffy and the sky outside Onigashima, Yamato and Momonosuke watched in astonishment. All the lightning was swallowed up by Natsu. After a while, the smoke dissipated, and Natsu, who was covered in flames and lightning, appeared in front of them. This is the Thunder Flame Dragon mode that belongs to Natsu.
Sarah, come on, now, the battle officially begins.
Chapter 240 Luffy's Giant God's Fist. Thunder Flame Dragon's Roar. Please complete order.
Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Thunder Flame Dragon mode.
This is the strongest mode during the S-rank mage assessment on Sirius Island and the decisive battle with Pluton Hades. After absorbing the magic power of Laxus Ray and transforming it into its own power, the whole body can release flames with lightning. And let the attack have the explosive power of fire and the speed of lightning and the explosive power of destruction.
The terrifying power of the combination of the two erupted, and the roar of the Thunderflame Dragon was a terrorist attack that could penetrate the entire island.
Hey, can it swallow flames and lightning? What a ridiculous ability. Kaido looked gloomily at Natsu, who was exuding a terrifying aura.
For some reason, he suddenly felt as if he was being greatly suppressed.
The Sakura-haired kid in front of him gave him an indescribable coercion. How is this possible? He is the Four Emperors, the strongest creature in the world's sea, land and air. Okay, that's awesome. Luffy looked at Natsu's whole body exuding a flaming thunderous flame, and 18 swallowed his throat, and his eyes were still a little sparkling. So cool. Even if you can swallow the thunder and lightning, it is impossible for you to defeat me. Thunder 8 trigrams. Kaido sneered, his figure flickered and disappeared, and before the voice fell, the whole person disappeared in place.
Black lightning swept wildly. Kaido grinned and appeared in front of Natsu, with his mace swung towards Natsu.
Lei Yanlong's iron strike. He opened his mouth with slightly sharp teeth and shouted angrily, and Natsu twisted his waist and threw a punch. Bang bang. When the fist and the mace collided, the power of the terrifying collision of the two forces instantly caused the ground to burst and collapse.
The gravel is agitated, and the sand is flying. Advertisement.
Black and cyan lightning intertwined and swept wildly, and the violent waves of Namikaze swept across all directions. Varied. Kaido's face changed slightly, and he looked at Natsu in astonishment, a little unbelievable. The next moment, just hear a click. The pitch-black 8 fasting mace was forcibly shattered by Natsu's fist, shattering a corner. Yahaha. Immediately after the thunder and fire, the fiery dragon flames flickered with thunder, and the thunder and fire flourished. A terrifying force erupted, and Kaido was blasted away with a mace punch. Hoo! The chest and abdomen were completely dented by this blow. Kaido coughed up blood and flew out, adjusting his body to stabilize his counterattack. But it was clear that Natsu would not give him this chance, and Natsu, who was burning all over, stomped his feet. The body was like a cannonball coming out of the chamber, and it came to Kaido with a tail flame, and smashed it down again with a punch. Bang bang. A heavy punch hit his chest so hard that Kaido could faintly hear the sound of his ribs breaking. The body hit the ground, bounced up, and then slammed into the ground. Before he could react and fight back, Natsu was already chasing after him, appearing above him, holding his hands up. Lei Yanlong's brilliant flame. In an instant, a huge thunder flame bullet condensed and formed, throwing both hands down. The huge thunder flame bullet slammed down.
Facing this huge terrifying flame, Kaido's expression changed in shock. He roared, and directly transformed into a cyan dragon with a height of hundreds of meters. If you can't escape, you can only resist. Tornado. The huge cyan dragon body quickly circled and rotated at a high speed, and the strong wind barrier became an insurmountable and powerful barrier. On the high-speed rotating body, dozens of wind blades were blasted out, and they met the huge lightning bullet that was several 10 meters long. Advertisement. Chi chi. The wind blade flew into the thunder flame bomb, only making a series of snorts, and then there was no follow-up. Immediately afterwards, the thunder flame bomb fell. Woo. Boom. The huge thunderbolt slammed down, directly blasting Kaido's blue dragon body tornado barrier away. The thunder flames exploded in an instant, and the violent thunder flames directly destroyed all of Kaido's defenses. The huge explosion sound resounded over the island of ghosts, and the entire island of ghosts trembled slightly. Broken floor objects and falling rocks kept falling, and almost everyone in the city looked at the hole above their heads with a nervous expression. And Kaido, who suffered this devastating blow, screamed and wailed. After smashing such a thunderbolt, Natsu hadn't stopped. Pounce on Kaido. It's a series of onslaughts. All Dragon Slayer magic is waiting for you. Kaido screams incessantly. Although the thunder and lightning in the thunderclouds in the sky have no magic power, they also have special energy unique to this world. It was also transformed into magic power by Natsu's physique and magic, greatly improving his own strength. In addition to the fact that Natsu is much stronger than the original, the Natsu at this moment is completely the existence of the Super S grade and the 10th grade. Not inferior to Natsu, who has the second magic source 7 years later, and even surpasses it. From this, it can be seen that in the face of such Natsu, Kaido was directly beaten. Not to mention that the Dragon Slayer magic is surprisingly effective for Kaido's blue dragon fruit. Hey, 99. Peach. Suddenly, thunderclouds in the sky. Luffy's voice suddenly came from the thundercloud, and Momonosuke, who was dragging Onigashima Island, was taken aback for a moment. Luffy. Advertisement. Momonosuke was puzzled and turned to look at the thunderclouds in the sky above Onigashima Island. It doesn't matter if you look at it, and Yamato was almost scared to death when he saw it. I saw that in the thunder layer above the island of ghosts, a huge fist, perhaps even bigger than the island of ghosts, protruded from the thunder cloud. Luffy has also turned 140 into giant form. And the fist that was bigger than Onigashima was black and purple, and it looked a little smooth and reflective. This is Conqueror's Haki entwined with armed colors, and there are even blue-white thunderbolts raging. Blue and white lightning is intertwined with black and red lightning, plus this terrifying fist. Immediately scared everyone. Natsu, who was beating Kaido violently, was also stunned. Kaido's nose was blue and his face was swollen. Looking at the giant fist in the sky, his face was gloomy and dignified. Stop it, Luffy, Momonosuke shouted hysterically, terrified. This fist has the momentum to pierce Onigashima as well. Luffy, stop. 35.
Yamato shouted anxiously, dripping with cold sweat.
Peach, I believe in you. Remove this obstructing ghost island, and I will end all this.
Kaido, Natsu, let me all fall. After all, without waiting for Momonosuke to respond again, Luffy directly threw out the most powerful and terrifying punch he ever had. What a joke, I won't lose to you. Lei Yanlong's roar. In the face of this punch that is about to destroy the world, Natsu's face is solemn, and he opens his mouth to take a deep breath.
Next moment, a huge thunderous flame roared out.
Bang bang. Chapter 241 Luffy's Fiasco. Please complete.
Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Bang bang.
Lei Yan roared like a furious Lei Yan dragon, roaring and rushing toward the divine fist that fell from the sky. The huge giant fist and thunder flame roar collide. Two terrifying forces collided and erupted, and the whole sky made a sound. The entire sky was rendered into two opposing colors, the fiery red of thunderous flames and the pale colors of black, purple and white. The light waves that erupted from the collision between the two spread instantly, and the turbulent air waves generated by the fierce collision swept in all directions. Lightning magic, devil fruit ability, conqueror's armament, hockey's peak battle. The lightning and flames of the collision continued to violently agitate, and the sky became chaotic. This is the final blow. Natsu, Kaido, fall me down. Wow. Feeling the blazing heat from the huge fist, as if it was going to melt him, Luffy felt a lot of pressure. Angrily, he gambled all his strength on this punch. His strength rose by 3 points again, and he pressed down fiercely. And Momonosuke, who was dragging Onigashima Island, saw that Luffy was really like this, trusting him without hesitation, and punching him down. In my heart, I was moved and terrified. I closed my eyes and looked back on everything in the past. After a while, he suddenly opened his eyes and tried his best to activate the fruit ability.
Circles of halo spread out from Momonosuke's dragon body. Afterwards, a large number of flame clouds were created by him, and they quickly surrounded the island of ghosts, consuming all the flame clouds created by Kaido. The floating flight ride of the entire ghost island completely fell into the hands of Momonosuke, and Momonosuke was overjoyed. Momonosuke-kun. Good job. Seeing this, Yamato patted Momonosuke's dragon horn with great joy and praised it. Haha, mother, I did it, and I, poof. 35 Momonosuke himself was extremely happy, but he hadn't waited for him to be happy for long. He spit out a lot of blood with a wow. Advertisement. Damn it, the injuries from the shelling have relapsed. Momonosuke's face sank, and the whole person suddenly became weak and powerless. Momonosuke-kun, what's wrong with you? Seeing Momonosuke slumped and vomiting blood, Yamato hurriedly asked worriedly. Before, the previous artillery wound recurred, cough, it's okay. I'm a samurai below, and I can't just fall down like this. Momonosuke responded with a trembling voice. He felt that his current state was really bad, if he continued to hold on like this to create flame clouds. Maybe he will die. Thinking of this, Momonosuke was a little scared. Oh death. But when I think of the thousands of subordinates in the island of ghosts, there are also Wado and the future Wano-kuni. The opportunity to change Wano-kuna's fortunes lies ahead. Parents have been planning for 20 years, betting on the chance of this era. Momonosuke is willing to go, as long as Wano-kuni can break free from the rule of Kaido of the Beasts and Kurozumi. His death was worth it. Luffy. I did it. Just give it a go and do your best. With Momonosuke's determined voice, more flame clouds were created, and the island of Oni was completely under control. After all, Momonosuke dragged the flame cloud and pulled the ghost island away in the opposite direction, away from the position above the flower capital. Good job, Peaches. Fall for me, ooh. Luffy, who gambled all his power on this punch, drank wildly, and the black and purple fist bigger than Onigashima finally slammed down. That kid, Kaido, who was beaten to death by Natsu, looked at the oppressive, terrifying giant fist in the sky, and cold sweat oozes out of his forehead. Advertisement. Are you kidding me, but I won't fall down again. Recalling the fear and despair once dominated by the black dragon, the powerless resistance. Natsu's eyes became sharp, his stomach swelled and he took a deep breath, and a more terrifying thunder flame roared out. Give me away. Bang bang. In the end, two terrifying forces erupted. Ultimate's lightning flame burst, overshadowing everything. The fiery thunderous flames roared into the sky with a destructive aura, penetrating and annihilating all the clouds and thunderclouds in the sky. Woo. Damn it. 35. Boom. As if endless thunder flames directly drowned the giant fist like an island. The entire sky was blasted through a large hole, and the flames spread and burned the sky, driving thunder and lightning to flicker. As for Luffy's words, he was directly blasted through by this thunder flame dragon's roar. In the center of endless thunder flames, Luffy screamed and wailed and gradually recovered to his original shape, and his body shrank rapidly. Finally turned into a human figure, Kurozumi dragged the tail flame black smoke into a parabola, and slammed heavily on the dome of the Onigashima skull that was moved a distance away. Puff. Natsu. Guy. Kaido. Damn it. Luffy, who had turned into a coke man, slammed heavily onto the dome, cracking the ground immediately. When he simply landed, the awakened form of the sun god Nika did not disappear, but also offset most of the fall damage. Otherwise, falling from a height of hundreds of meters would have to suffer a second heavy blow. Before losing consciousness, Luffy muttered the names of Natsu and Kaido in a very unwilling manner. It can be seen how much Luffy's obsession with Kaido and Natsu is in his heart.
Luffy, 66. Luffy-kun. Outside Onigashima, Momonosuke Yamato and the two were surprised. Advertisement. Luffy, defeated again and again. Seeing Luffy's fiasco, Momonosuke was completely desperate.
Their only hope of beating Kaido, Luffy, was defeated.
It seems that it is really impossible to do it again, and a miracle happened to stand up. What should I do now? They have already lost. It's over, Luffy, we're over. Momonosuke's pupils suddenly became panicked, and the flame clouds that were created to hold Onigashima became somewhat unstable. No, there's still hope for us. With that guy there, beating Kaido shouldn't be a problem. Seeing Momonosuke falling into a state of panic and fear again, Yamato shook his head helplessly. Then he said firmly, Who? You mean the pink-haired guy who knocked Luffy down? Yes. Momonosuke immediately changed his mood when he heard the words, and then said with wide eyes, since it is an allied army, why did he defeat Luffy? That bastard. 66. Yamato didn't answer, but just stared at the sky, the 100 meters long Natsu, who was hovering in the sky, facing Natsu.
The power of Christy's kingdom is far more terrifying than she expected and understood.
As for why Luffy was defeated by the opponent, it should be Luffy blocking Kaido's shot, so Luffy will be included in the target to defeat. Yamato breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, her witty group had gone to the Christy Kingdom long before that.
Now, it's all about that guy. Chapter 242 Dragon Extermination Profound Truth Red Lotus Thunderblade. Please complete order.
Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. In the sky, looking at the sky illuminated by the fiery red, Kaido fell silent. Was the kid as strong as the Straw Hat also defeated?
The blow just now was a move that he felt under pressure.
Unexpectedly, the strength of the pink-headed kid in front of him is even more terrifying.
That's right, after all, he was caught and beaten just now.
What a useless guy. If you want to dominate the world, you can do it not just by relying on fruit ability. 39. Like Roger, who is not capable, can make a breakthrough, only hockey. It's the power above everything. Kaido's wild voice spread all over the sky.
Luffy lying on the ground seemed to hear Kaido's voice, and his fingers moved slightly, but there was no response. At this moment, Luffy is completely incompetent. You look very tired, do you still have the strength to deal with me now?
With a contemptuous glance, Luffy lay in the corpse. Kaido rolled over and turned his gaze to Natsu standing in the sky. Seeing Natsu's breathless appearance, Kaido was instantly happy. Using such a powerful move, the consumption is very large at 140.
Judging from his current state, does he still have excess physical strength to fight him with high intensity? Oh, although there is not much magic power, it won't be too difficult to deal with you.
After adjusting for the sudden burst of a lot of magic power and the discomfort of excessive consumption, Natsu grinned. Stubborn bastard. Although I couldn't kill the Straw Hat Kid myself, but if I kill you, it's almost the same.
Kaido sneered when he heard the words, his circling body swayed suddenly, and quickly charged towards Natsu.
Advertisement. Heat breath. When approaching, tens of meters away, Kaido spewed out a burst of heat. Natsu dodged and disappeared. Call one by one. The roaring dragon tail swept away. Observation Haki felt the movement of Natsu and Kaido instantly swept out. Bang bang. The next moment, Natsu's figure appeared, a vigorous and powerful dragon tail swept over, and Natsu raised his hands to resist. The heavy force directly knocked Natsu out. Natsu clenched his teeth, and his body slipped out in the air, causing two clouds of dust and smoke. Swish. Thunder 8 trigrams. The body has not stabilized yet. Kaido has changed back to the form of a human and beast. What an annoying mace. Break it for me. Lei Yanlong's iron strike. Facing the slaughtering Kaido, Natsu's eyes were full of ferocity, and he swung out his right arm, which was flashing with lightning, and punched the mace. Click, click, snapped. The next moment, Kaido's eyes narrowed in horror, and in his hand he held the mace that had been smashed to pieces.
It was directly shattered by Natsu, leaving only the handle in his hand.
Monster, you little brat. This is the 8 fasting mace built by many craftsmen in Wano, and even he can't easily destroy it. And now, he was actually smashed by this kid in front of him with 2 punches. Rao is a monster known as the strongest creature in the sea, land and air, and Kaido of the monster itself was taken aback. Lei Yanlong's brilliant flame. However, Natsu completely ignored it. At the moment when the mace was shattered, Natsu shot again, raised both hands, and a huge lightning bolt condensed and slammed down suddenly. Advertisement. Roar. It's this trick again. A look of fear flashed in Kaido's eyes, and when he opened his mouth, he spit out a hot breath. Boom.
The heat breath and the thunder flame bombs collide, and the heat breath is directly swallowed by the thunder flame, and continues to crash down.
When Kaido saw that the situation was not good, he disappeared, and quickly came to the top of Natsu's head. Although the strongest weapon mace has been smashed, he still has a pair of iron fists. I saw him open the dragon's claws, and the minions exuding the sharp light of Morihan carried out the entanglement of the armed color and the conquerors, and stabbed the head of Natsu.
That terrifying cold light and strength that exudes, BIFD, if it pierces the steel, it can pierce it without the slightest accident. Jundali Long wins the army, change. Unexpectedly, Kaido felt that a single blow might not be able to deal a heavy blow to Natsu, the moment he was about to hit. Kaido burst out with all his haki and physical strength.
The fist is like an afterimage, as dense and terrifying as the bullets fired from a machine gun. Woo, die, kid. Kaido roared his fists like a machine gun, and Natsu reacted instantly, and the thunder flames all over his body erupted.
The stars of Lei Yanlong, 35. He faced off against Kaido without flinching at all. Created a new move on the spot, Thunder Flame Iron Fist bombarded wildly. Wow, cough. Within a few seconds, the two of them slammed into each other for hundreds of punches, then double-clicked to hit each other, and at the same time retreated.
You bastards, one by one, it's really annoying.
As the last resort, let lousy die, advertisement.
3 worlds, Yinaluo, Yellow Springs annihilated. Glancing at the thunder layer formed by him again, Kaido transformed into a blue dragon and flew into the thunder cloud.
Immediately after, swooping down from a thundercloud high in the sky.
On his body, there is 1,000 thunder. The moment he swooped down, Kaido turned back into a human beast form, with a dragon horn wrapped around Conqueror's armament haki, plus the power of lightning. Towards Natsu, it's like a falling star, like a falling star.
Woo.
In the face of Kaido's strongest blow, Natsu also showed an unprecedented seriousness.
The final battle of the strongest blow. It's exactly what I want, 35.
Natsu took a deep breath, the whole body's magic burst out, dragon flames and thunder and lightning intertwined. Dragon slaying profound truth change Red Lotus Thunder Blade.
The upgrade move of the Red Lotus Blazing Blade.
The slightly ferocious eyes of Natsu are wrapped around the sharp blade formed by the flame of the fire dragon, and the left hand is wrapped around the sharp blade formed by the lightning magic that absorbed the transformation of thunder and lightning. Immediately afterwards, Natsu's body suddenly lifted up and flew up, and his body went towards Kaido, who fell like a meteor. The body that soared upwards spun up on the way, and the thunder flame power of both hands merged into a whirlwind of dual attributes during the swirl.
Hit Kaido with a huge whirlwind of fire with thunder. The next moment, the two finally meet, bang bang. In an instant, the world lost its color. The two terrifying collisions collided, the light waves that erupted after the fierce collision spread rapidly, and the violent airwaves swept in all directions. How? Impossible. At the center of the energy collision, Kaido was horrified to find that he was being suppressed by an extremely powerful force. Chapter 243 Fire Dragon Torch. Dumbfounded Kaido, please order. Previous chapter next chapter advertisement, Fire Dragon Torch. Feeling the incomparably hot thunder flames, Kaido's face suddenly changed greatly, his body swayed, and the dragon tail swept away. Repel Natsu's thunder flame profound double blade attack. Immediately afterwards, he transformed into a fiery red dragon.
Dragon form. Kaido, who was burning with flames all over his body, suddenly his entire blue dragon form skyrocketed.
The body is bigger and bigger, however, if you look closely. It can still be found that it is not that Kaido itself has become larger. It was after Kaido used the unique skill of the Fire Dragon Torch. As a result, a flame dragon-shaped shell was formed outside his body, and its body was still the same size. It's just hiding in the head of the Fire Dragon Torch. In the head of the huge Fire Dragon Torch, this Fire Dragon form is controlled. In this form, one Kakuzu of Onigashima was melted by the terrifying high temperature it radiated. Seeing the repelled Natsu burst out with stronger power again, Kaido's whole body was burning with terrifying high temperature flames and Natsu collided again. Now, how much more damage can your flames do to me? 35. Bang bang. After a violent crash, Kaido actually knocked Natsu back. What, can you still change your attributes? Wiping the bloodline at the corner of his mouth, Natsu said slightly surprised. However, think that the other party has been able to spit fire and spit high temperature heat before. There is nothing to say about becoming a fire dragon. Moreover, if the other party actually turned into a fire dragon, then. Thinking of this, Natsu suddenly laughed, however. Advertisement. Although Natsu had been repelled, Kaido's expression turned extremely gloomy. Just because one of his dragon horns was directly cut off by Natsu's thunder flame profound truth. There was even a scar on his face, and his left eye was directly smashed. Damn it, you pissed off lousy. After transforming into a fire dragon form, Kaido grinned and shook his head. The power of Natsu's move was so great that it not only broke his defense, but even left indelible scars. As a result, his head is a little uncomfortable now, and his nerves are damaged. The damage is great, and I am afraid it has left a permanent impact. Damn it. A left eye. And even the nerves in the brain have been damaged, and I will have to be a one-eyed dragon in the future. Kaido is going crazy. When did he suffer such a serious injury? Can't you swallow the flames? Now, the temperature of my flames has increased by at least 10 times. Do you dare to swallow? Roar, furious Kaido said wildly. Thang long flame 8 trigrams. 35. As soon as the voice fell, Kaido turned into a flame dragon and rushed towards Natsu in the sky, and the terrifying flames roared through at high temperature. The space was burnt and twisted, the Kakuzu on the Ghost Island was melted away, and the rock pillar hills on the dome were melted away. Looking at the huge fire dragon rushing towards his face, not only did Natsu show no fear, but instead showed a look of excitement and greed. Are you covered in fire dragons formed by the condensation of flames? 99. Haha, it just so happens that the magic is almost exhausted, 35 feet. Natsu opened his eyes and saw the essence of Kaido's fire dragon form in an instant. The posture formed by the condensed fire dragon made Natsu's eyes brighten instantly, and his saliva was about to flow down. To actually develop the flame to such a degree, the fire dragon formed by condensation is too substantial, and the temperature is still very high.
Advertisement. Although there is no familiar magic element, there is a mysterious power element unique to this world.
In general, that is the flame on this big guy, and it is equally effective for his dragon-slaying physique. Just like the fireball that devoured Kaido in the city at the beginning. However, the flame of this fire dragon in front of me looks even more delicious. Since you are so hospitable, then I'm welcome. After gearing up, Natsu licked his horns, and his whole body erupted with fiery dragon flames. Use the last bit of magic to pierce him. Although Natsu grinned brightly, his eyes were extremely serious. Lei Yanlong's sword horn. A whirlwind of lightning and flames appeared, and Natsu turned into a high-speed spinning whirlwind drill, killing Kaido, who cast 8 trigrams of Thonglong flames. Indistinctly, it seems that I can still see that behind the thunderflame whirlwind, there seems to be a fire dragon opening its eyes, roaring and slaughtering away. Melting, damn brat. Kaido was slightly taken aback when he saw Natsu slam his head towards him. Immediately, he sneered and roared furiously. Suddenly, the temperature of the fire dragon rose again, turning into an even more terrifying dragon, opening its huge fangs and biting at Natsu. ****. Just devour Natsu in your mouth and burn it to melt. In this world, absolutely no one can withstand a flame of this temperature. Kaido can already predict the scene where Natsu was swallowed into the dragon's mouth of 8 trigrams, the flame of the rising dragon, and melted into gas. Ha ha ha, die. I don't know the so-called little devil.
And such a good thing. Natsu, who thought he was going to smash through the opponent's fire dragon form and enter his body to better absorb the flames, couldn't help but be stunned. Good guy, there is such a good thing. Natsu was even happier, and in the blink of an eye, he was swallowed by a fire dragon under Kaido's wickedly excited and disdainful gaze. Advertisement. But so, 99. In this world, the person who can defeat Lousy has not yet been born. Point 0. Woo la la la. Oh la 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 la. Seeing that the 2 annoying little devils were solved by himself, Kaido laughed wildly. It's really, I don't know whether to live or die. In the higher void, Lilinet looked from the beginning to the end, watching Kaido's arrogant attitude that he thought he was invincible in the world.
With a sneer, Kaido was sentenced to death directly.
Well, after all, Natsu isn't even a human being. Stark scratched his head, feeling dumbfounded by Kaido's death-defying behavior. He actually dared to take a human-shaped fire dragon and take the initiative to swallow it into the body of the fire dragon.
Stark silently observed 3 seconds of silence for Kaido. Sure enough, at the next moment, Gollum, whoosh, a lot of flames. A strange sound rang out, and Kaido's frantic expression suddenly changed. What's going on? My flame, my dragon torch. Inside the head of the fire dragon torch, Kaido watched in horror as the flame of his fire dragon shell continued to rapidly diminish. After half a sound, Kaido looked at Natsu in the mouth of the fire dragon in shock and amazement. How is that possible? You can swallow this too. Kaido was dumbfounded. He is proud of the fire dragon and torch form of the wild capital. He was actually being swallowed up by this little devil in front of him. Chapter 244. Kaido is defeated. Cheering people, please complete the order. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. This can't be without Kaido's shock. After all, in the form of his fire dragon and torch, the temperature of the flame is more than 10 times that of the flame he released before. Just the temperature emitted by the flame can melt the corner of the Ghost Island skull, not to mention the most direct flame erosion. Even with such a terrifying high-temperature flame, can this kid continue to swallow? Who is the real monster? Shut up, Lousy. Damn kid. Anxious. Seeing that the fire dragon torch became thinner and thinner, Kaido immediately became anxious. If this FK were to be swallowed up by this kid, who knows what would happen? Not only will his own strength be greatly weakened, but this guy will become even more terrifying because he has swallowed a lot of flames. After all, there was a precedent before, Kaido would be really panicking. Before swallowing the thunder and lightning, he could crush 143 and beat him, but now he has swallowed a lot of flames, and he must not be pressed and rubbed by him. Thinking of this, Kaido, who was hiding and manipulating in the head of the fire dragon torch, hurriedly killed Natsu in the dragon's mouth. Fire dragon 8 trigrams. Hoo. In the flame head, Kaido's body was attached to the flame shell of the fire dragon torch, and he rushed in front of Natsu in an uncomfortable manner. Like a small fire dragon, it opens its fangs and bites at Natsu, and its mouth contains extremely compressed flame energy. However, Kaido, who had only started at this time, had no idea that it was too late. Hey, thanks for the hospitality, quite a delicious flame. In the flames, Natsu raised his head, the pupils in his eyes had become vertical pupils, and dragon scale patterns appeared on the corners of his eyes and cheeks. All over his arms, legs and feet, some dragon scale patterns appeared one after another. At the same time, a terrifying magic power burst out from Natsu's body instantly. Just like how Natsu faced Gildas, who had crushed him with an explosion of magic power on Sirius Island.
At this moment, Natsu with dragon scales appeared on his body. His magic power was extremely terrifying. Shrouded in heavy magic power, Kaido only felt that his body suddenly became stagnant and uncomfortable. Advertisement. Magic. Again. I'm on fire. 99. Lei Yanlong's meteoric strike. Bang bang. With just one blow, Kaido, who was slaughtered in front of Natsu, was punched straight away, his head tilted, and he was slammed and swept away.
A huge dragon tooth flew out along with the blood. Kaido's eyes rolled, and this time he directly beat him to the ground. Bang. Before he could utter the second word, the whip swept across the legs and landed heavily on his forehead. The spinning sensation hit. Kaido felt that he was not only about to fall, but also wanted to vomit.
Lei Yanlong's brilliant flame. Boom. A huge lightning bomb fell, and a terrible explosion blew Kaido over. Then, with the head as an attack, Natsu, who was spinning at a high speed, slammed into his forehead. A heavy force hit the head, and with a click, Kaido's other long horn was also broken.
Blood spurted out of his mouth and was beaten down by Natsu. Damn. I want you to die. After being hit hard one after another, Kaido was completely irritated and crazy, and the fire dragon torch, which had been absorbed by Natsu and shrunk a few times, became huge again. Kaido has started to work hard, and all the remaining physical strength is used up, making his dragon form more powerful and terrifying.
Thang long. Flame 8 trigrams. Roaring and roaring, Kaido rushed towards Natsu frantically.
Hoo-hoo, the final blow, Kaido. Dragon slaying profound truth change Red Lotus Thunderblade, 35. Looking at Kaido who was going crazy and desperate, Natsu was also quite tired at this time, and a glint of light flashed in his eyes. The whole body's magic power erupted, and dragon flames and lightning appeared in both hands, forming double-edged thunder and fire, and the body suddenly rotated at a high speed. Advertisement. The sharp blade of thunder and fire turned into a whirlwind of thunder and fire, and a huge whirlwind of flame with thunderlight pierced the sky.
The next moment, the two collide. Bang bang. The huge western fire dragon appeared in phantom and shredded the fire dragon comparable to the size of the Ghost Island.
The terrifying airwaves that collided between the two swept in all directions, and the violent heat wave almost blew Momonosuke away. Momonosuke had barely managed to control the flame clouds, but this time he almost lost control. Both him and Yamato turned pale with fright. Wow. But, damn it. The kid. Poof. Kaido looked at Natsu extremely unwillingly, his eyes filled with resentment. How shameful to be defeated by the opponent's thunder flames. He is the dragon who masters these two powers, and as a result, the power he possesses has become the food for the enemy to become stronger. Defeated by higher magic power, Kaido's huge fire dragon torch form completely disappeared, turning into a cyan dragon and smashing heavily on the roof of Onigashima Skull City. The rumbling sound sounded, and Kaido's half-body smashed directly into the city, startling the people in the city. Many pirates were crushed to death because the city was suddenly collapsed. For a long time, Kaido's huge blue dragon body did not move. Seeing this, the people in the city understood. Kaido really got beat. Almost everyone, with tears in their eyes, burst into cheers with excitement. Kaido was knocked out. Great, Straw Hat, Mr. Straw Hat did it. Freedom. Ha 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 ha. Good job, Luffy. Advertisement. We won ha ha ha. Wano-kuna's Straw Hat pirates and samurai allied force were so happy that they burst into tears. God knows how much sacrifice and effort they have gone through in this battle. Now, it finally succeeded, but what they didn't know was that the one who defeated Kaido was not Luffy. It's the Dragon Slayer Natsu. Is it made by the fire-breathing boy? HMPH, it still works a bit, but it's a bit slow.
Tornado let out a snort, and she, who has been showing her sense of power, of course knew that Natsu did it.
As for the guy in the straw hat, he was also defeated by Natsu. So far, Wano-kuna's mission has basically been completed. 5.3 beside him, Hannibal said with a flat expression. While saying this, Davy's handsome figure appeared in Hannibal's mind. I kinda miss that bad guy. Haha, hoo-ha, I'm exhausted, I'm out of strength. On the dome, Natsu, who had really defeated Kaido, smashed to the ground. Exhausted and gasping for breath, he had a hearty fight, and it was so refreshing. But tired is really tired. Kaido, defeated? Momonosuke's expression was shocked, and he stared blankly at the roof of Onigashima Skull City, where the motionless body of Chinglong lay. They have won the war. Chapter 245. Everyone, give me a face, please complete the order. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. It is finally over. This war that spanned 20 years was finally ended on this day. Lord Father, Lord Mother, we won. 35, ooh. Seeing the appearance of the enemy Kaido lying on the Ghost Island, Momonosuke's eyes were brewing with tears, and the next moment, tears flowed down his face. Although Yamato said it vaguely, Momonosuke knew it now. Natsu, who defeated Luffy and Kaido, was the one who later broke into the Ghost Island castle. No matter what purpose the other party has, they choose to fight against Kaido to help them. Will it be the next Kaido to rule Wano-kuni? But as it stands, they've now defeated Kaido and temporarily regained Wano-kuna's dominance, and that's for the best. As for what happens after that, it depends on how it will develop. In any case, the most important thing now is to destroy the forces of the Beast's pirates and Kurozumi Orochi. Reclaim Wanakuna's dominion, reorganize and rule the country for real. Has Joey Boy been defeated again? The drums are gone. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. The drum sound you heard again after 800 years just disappeared. Joey Boy. Did you fail again? Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Momonosuke. Is the guy who defeated Joey Boy the enemy? Need to be eliminated. Close black lens bracket. But just as Momonosuke burst into tears of ecstasy, the voice of the elephant suddenly resounded in Momonosuke's mind.
Momonosuke swallowed, as if he could sense that there was a little bit of resentment in the ethereal voice of the vicissitudes of life.
It seemed that Natsu had beaten Luffy hard, making him unhappy. Yup. The Elephant Master came with the purpose of fighting alongside Joey Boy and Momonosuke again. In the end, Joey Boy, who came back now, was defeated by someone and lay on the roof, not knowing whether to live or die. Advertisement. 800 years is too long, too far. Elephant Lord has been waiting too long and too lonely. Elephant Lord, get angry, wait, please wait like the Lord, now is not the time to fight this thing. We have won, and Luffy may not be dead, and needs to be treated right now. Seeing that the Elephant Master was about to get angry and attack Onigashima, Momonosuke almost urinated. It was not that he had never seen the appearance of an active hand. If this is really asking the Elephant Master to come to the Ghost Island, the entire Ghost Island has to be sunk and shattered. Then let's not talk about ruling and rectifying Wano Kuni. The thousands of subordinates who followed him, as well as his companions and friends, must all die here. 6,699 silent. Hearing what Momonosuke said, the Elephant Master fell silent. Ding Ding looked at Luffy, who had turned into a humanoid coke, and didn't say anything. Seeing this, Momonosuke breathed a sigh of relief. After all, I finally stabilized the Elephant Master. The other side. Wano Kuni Sea. A warship came out of the sea fog, a total of 25 marine top warships. 25 Marines top warships, consisting of 3 Admiral forces, 10 Marine Vice Admiral, 25 Marine Rear Admiral, and 50,000 Marine elites. Such a top-level military force can completely penetrate a 4 Emperors pirate group. Naval headquarters, completely involved in the world's top royal battle in Wano Kuni. Advertisement. In this war, there are 4 or 5 pirates of the 4 Emperors level alone. Ant Kaido, 2 veteran 4 Emperors, Straw Hat Luffy newcomer 4 Emperors, and finally Logan Kid are considered Emperors. However, now these people have lost their combat effectiveness and lie down. The time for Marines' admission was just in time. No one can deny the Wano Kuni ownership after this war is over, and the huge benefits that come with it. Special seastone manufacturing technology, weapon forging. Various resources, weapon manufacturing, a natural fortress that is easy to defend and difficult to attack. Not only naval headquarters was dispatched, but even the CPO headed by Lu Chi was dispatched. Moreover, it is still one step ahead of naval headquarters. It's really terrifying, the war caused by several 4 Emperors pirates. The current supernovas have become the 4 Emperors. What a terrifying new generation of pirates. 95. On the deck of the main ship, Paluzolino with Madara White Temples looked out at Wano Kuni, which gradually became clearer.
Has entered the reef waters of the Wano Kuni Sea. Before long, they will reach the central waters of Wano Kuni. What an astonishing ancient creature, what absurdity it is, there are creatures that can grow so huge.
Beside him, Fujitora unfolded observation haki with a smile, and from a distance he could perceive the terrifying figure of the Elephant Master. Even if he is blind, others can still see the shocking and unbelievable look on Fujitora's smiling face at this moment. It was quite shocking indeed. Gollum. The last Admiral-level combat power, Momonosuke Gion. Momonosuke swallowed, and there was a look of horror in her beautiful eyes. After all, it was unimaginable to see the terrifying figure of the Elephant Lord from such a distance. If you really get to the feet of the elephant, look closer.
Advertisement. What a majestic body that is. No, it's a monster, a creature that has witnessed the vicissitudes of history.
How long until Wano Kuni? Perusolino raised his hand, looked at the watch on his wrist, and asked Vice Admiral, the Weasel beside him. About 143 hours, Lord Kizaru. After the Weasel learned from the adjutant, he replied respectfully.
Yes, Kizaru nodded. After learning that the war was about to break out in Wano Kuni, naval headquarters dispatched the fleet to this side of the sea in advance. The moment he got the order to attack, he rushed over at full speed.
According to the latest news, Ant 4 Emperors may have been killed.
Now is the perfect time for them to enter. Suddenly, Porosolino frowned, looking at the sea in front of him, he suddenly sailed sideways, like a ship blocking their route. I can't help but wonder in my heart, which one is not afraid of death? How dare you intercept it in front of the marine fleet capable of slaughtering the forces of the 4 Emperors? Huh, redhead Shanks. When the huge ship emerged from the sea fog, revealing its true picture, Porosolino raised his eyebrows and raised his horns slightly.
Red hair pirates. 35, how could they be here? The Marines were all shocked and question marks all over their faces.
Everyone, can you please give me some face? When the two sides approached to meet, the red-haired Shanks, standing on the bow, said with a sullen face. Chapter 246 Red-haired interception, fighting. Seeking full order.
Previous chapter. Next chapter advertisement, can you please give me some face? How about quitting this Wano Kuni war? As soon as these words came out, the waves rolled, and there was no second person in this sea area.
Marines, look at me, and I look at you. Inexplicable total feeling, this scene seems a bit familiar. The Marine elites swallowed and looked at red-hair pirates nervously.
No one knew what purpose the red-haired Shanks had intercepted them at this time and wanted them to retreat. However, that doesn't stop them from seeing the red-haired Shanks as their archenemy at this moment. After all, this fourth emperor was once in the New World, and the name was forcibly cast from the other three emperor pirates. The most important point is, young, the strongest conquerors hockey in the world. The four emperors with no fixed abode and no power territory. The threat level is simply not too high, because you simply can't make an effective plan against it. With the four emperors running around the world with a single ship, how do you target each other?
This is the trickiest part. As expected of the four emperors, it's really terrifying. Polsolino pouted and said with a beating expression.
Red-haired Shanks, do you think it's possible? This is the order given by the five elders of the world government in person. What's more, Marshal Akainu can't allow the Summit War to happen again. Hearing this, Fujitora smiled. Momonosuke and the Marine Vice Admiral's faces changed slightly. What happened at Summit War? Only when the red-haired Shanks appeared last, took away the bodies of Ace and Whitebeard, and negotiated with Marshal Sengoku to end the war. However, the current situation is not as good as the original Summit War.
Advertisement. The current Marine is in full swing.
3 Admiral level combat power, 10 Vice Admiral, 25 Rear Admiral, 50,000 elite Marines.
Go to war with the four emperors without the slightest problem.
What's your purpose of stopping me here, red-haired Shanks?
Please give me a satisfactory answer, otherwise, before landing in Wano, I don't mind destroying a four emperors pirate group. Hockey. Fujitora stood up with a smile, put his hand on the weapon, and a powerful aura rose up. Fujitora, the Marine Admiral, smiled, but not in the slightest of joking. Now Wano situation is imminent, the impact is huge, if the red-haired Shanks delays the opportunity. After that, it will be difficult to have this opportunity again.
A chance to kill 2 veteran four emperors pirates. The danger and importance of a mere red-haired Shanks are much less than those of the 2 veteran four emperors.
If these 2 veteran four emperors can be completely wiped out, then the naval headquarters pace will span more than half of the New World waters.
Instead, nest at the foot of the Red Line in the New World, Holy Land Marijoy.
To put it nicely, the new naval headquarters has moved to the New World.
It's ugly, but it's just changed from the front door to the back door, and is still in a watchdog situation.
Also, in the past 2 years, several branch bases have been established. For New World's dominance, it's still too bad. Get out of the way, Redhead Shanks, if you don't want to be hunted down by some admirals in the future, you'd better leave now. 35. Momonosuke put his hand on the hilt of the famous sword Jinpyra, and with the words in his mouth, the white and slender jade hand has quietly pulled out the Jinpyra. A cold light flickered, and the great swordsman's breath leaked. The Marine Vice Admiral beside them, the Marine elites felt the terrible aura emanating from the three.
They were all horrified and swallowed saliva. Advertisement.
Seeing this situation, I'm afraid that it's not going to fight here, and a terrifying naval battle will take place.
Thinking of this scene, the veteran Marine elites can't help but think back.
For decades, that very famous naval battle came. The Battle of Edvard. The war in Wano is already huge enough that no power is allowed to intervene. 39.
Once the world government master Wano, I believe, you should all know, the future.
What a terrible world war will take place. Looking at the Marine executives in front of him, the red-haired Shanks said with a gloomy expression. This isn't scaremongering by Redhead Shanks. But it is so.
Once the world government master has this weapons manufacturing power, then, the force of the world government will become unprecedentedly powerful.
At least, in the near future, there may be a terrorist force that does not fear and ignores the racial forces in the world.
This is what the Redhead Shanks doesn't want to see, and what worries him the most. 6699 Looking at the red-haired Shanks, a strange look flashed in Perusolino's eyes.
Recalling what Sengoku once said to them, Perusolino fell into deep thought. This matter needs careful consideration. As for Marshal Akainu.
Among the top Marines, there is another organization. In the list of members, there is no such person as Sakazuki. Perusolino looked at Fujitora and smiled, with a strange look in his eyes. Advertisement. Coincidentally, after listening to the red-haired Shanks, Fujitora smiled and slowly looked at Perusolino. Fujitora, who had self-mutilated his eyes, smiled and didn't see the meaning in Perusolino's eyes.
However, Fujitora smiled and nodded secretly. World government, celestial dragons.
The existence of the root of all evil, Shichibukai, has been withdrawn, but bigger problems remain.
Fujitora smiled, obviously not wanting, let alone helping, to let the world government achieve their goals. Momonosuke is a little tangled, often in the Holy Land Marijoy, she has seen the evil of celestial dragons. Countless. The words have already been said so clearly, is it good? Why does Momonosuke still don't understand the meaning of the other party? Momonosuke turned his head slightly and looked at Perusolino. 66 inches. Get out of the way, red-haired Shanks, this is an order from the 5 elders, even we can't disobey the order.
Saying that, Perusolino turned into a flash and stood on the mast with a clatter. Yes, I understand. The red-haired Shanks seemed to understand something, and there was a smile in his eyes. Immediately, his face suddenly sank, and he pulled out his western sword. Then, we have no choice but to decide the outcome here. Light speed kick. The voice fell, and Pulsalino's figure turned into a golden light and disappeared.
Instantly in front of the red-haired Shanks. Chapter 247. The actors are in place again. Please complete the order. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Boom. The yellow and white figure exudes a dazzling golden light, and the right leg is raised, shining with a terrifying light. Aiming at the red-haired Shanks' head and kicking it down, but a bullet wrapped around armament hockey was shot from another place. Oh, Ben Beckman. Just before the bullet was about to hit his calf, Pulsalino immediately withdrew his kick and disappeared.
Then he appeared above the mast and said with a lingering fear.
What a terrible reaction speed. I almost broke the old man's leg.
Click. HMPH, Kizaru, you'd better stay a long way from our ship. The next bullet will go through your head. The scene replays, with Ben Beckman sitting on the other side of the mast with a pistol pointed at Pulsalino's head. His expression was flat, but his words were full of threats. On the second deck of the ship, Usopp also aimed his sniper rifle at Pulsalino's head. It's really scary. A pirate ship has two Shinso hands. Pulsalino immediately raised his hands.
Being targeted by two world-famous superpowers, this is no joke, one can't get it right. Maybe I will really get scratched. Then you have to be careful, the gun in my hand is not empty a few times. Usopp grinned.
In his eyes, he was full of absolute confidence in his spear skills. 143.
Base. Fujitora smiled and didn't say much, but bowed slightly, put both hands on the sword, and pulled the sword out of the scabbard with a bang. Puff. I saw Fujitora laughing and pulling out his sword and slashing, then put the sword back into the sheath, and his waist was low. A purple light circle with a radius of about 1 meter appeared above Fujitora's smile, humming, and then ejected toward outer space.
Countless purple gravitational lights soar into the sky. Advertisement, is it? No way, too much, Mr. Fujitora. Ah. The elite Marines, who were familiar with Fujitora's smile, were immediately shocked when they saw this scene, with expressions of astonishment on their faces. Even the Marine Vice Admirals were stunned. Is this a direct boost? This is the sea, and if they don't fix it, the Marines will suffer because of it. Really, how can Marine Admiral be so scary, attracting meteorites casually? On the mast, poor Salino looked up at the sky, his tone was a bit Versailles, and he seemed to be yin and yang. All in all, it's a very rude gesture. Oh, indeed. This, undeniably, was not BIFD, refuted by Ben Beckman, except that the pistol was still aimed at Pulsalino's head. There was no trace of panic on Ben Beckman's face. It seemed to him that a meteorite looked like a pebble that fell from nowhere. Not worth mentioning at all, completely ignored. And the fact is also true, when the meteorite in outer space with thick smoke and flames fell straight down. The red-haired Shanks with a sullen face drew his sword with one hand, venting a terrifying breath. Whoa. No words. No trick names. The red-haired Shanks swung his sword with one hand, and a dazzling sword light rose from the ground. The violent hurricane set off by the terrifying sword glow swept through the meteorite flames that approached the red-haired pirate ship with a terrifying sense of oppression, and went straight to extinguish it. Immediately after, a terrifying sword light flashed past the meteorite, which was neatly cut in half. In just an instant, dozens of sword lights erupted, quickly shattering the meteorite. Immediately, meteorite fragments splashed in all directions, rumbled into the sea, on the warship. Horrible. Advertisement. Crush the meteorite fragments. 39. Damn it. Did this guy do it on purpose? Break these shards? 66.99. For a time, a large number of meteorite fragments that splashed and fell in a large area brought great pressure to the Marines. Marine elites have worked together to smash meteorite fragments, or let warships avoid them, so as to avoid major damage and casualties. 66.35 Momonosuke, who was watching all this, wrinkled her beautiful eyes, swiped Pulsalino and Fujitora's beautiful cheeks with a smile. An admiral ran over to the enemy pirate ship and was directly held up by two Shinso hands. It seemed that he was really being held back and could not leave at will. Another admiral directly summons meteorites to strike a large area around him. The enemy smashed the meteorite, and the marine fleet was in a hurry for a while, struggling to cope. Number 71. If this scene lets Sakazuki see, I'm not sure I'll have to scream again and say, "What's the matter? You two put this on to play me again, right?" Momonosuke sighed inwardly. The appearance of the fleet led by the red-haired Shanks and Marine Admiral, the 3-4 Emperor's regiments of the Straw Hat and Big Mom Kaido who experienced the battle at Wano. They don't know. Not to mention, the appearance of the red-haired Shanks was originally to cooperate with Marine to occupy Wano, and annihilated two veteran 4 Emperor's pirates and captured and killed Straw Hat Luffy. To the surprise of the 5 elders, the red-haired Shanks suddenly changed his mind. Messed up their plans. In short, the world government has lost the powerful fleet strike on Marine's side. Just a CPO organization, it is useless to Wano. Doomed to get nothing. Advertisement. The other side. Ding, your subordinate Neutra killed the Beast's pirates Big Kanban Yan Disaster Jin, and you got 2,800 origin points. Ding, your subordinate Doflamingo killed Beast's Pirates Big Kanban Plague Quinn, you got 2,300 origin points. Ding, your subordinates, 66, in Christie's palace.
Davy patted it. Irene glanced at Davy angrily, and swallowed it all. After finishing, he stood up and looked at Kaido's dragon body lying in the corpse in the picture, showing a very interesting look. Is this a fruit form similar to yours? Eren snuggled into Davy's arms and said. She had also seen Davy's white dragon form, so she couldn't help but ask when she saw Kaido's similar appearance.
Davy nodded. The reminder in his mind made Davy smile slightly. It's just that there is no reminder of the mission reward of the Imperial Group. Is it because the officers of the Four Emperors Pirate Group have not been completely killed? Davy guessed in his heart, and felt that he was inseparable. In that case, you can go to Wano Kuni for a walk. Drained Charlotte Linlin and Kaido's abilities, then took them all out.
Then complete the Four Emperors quest. After all, if Hannibal and the others return, there will still be some time left.
Are you going to Wano Kuni? Davy raised the clean chin of Irene, Queen of Dragons.
Go. Eren blinked. Tear. Davy nodded slightly, and with a swipe, the space in front of him was torn apart.
With Eren, the two enter it. Chapter 248 Sun and Tears, excited warriors, please complete the order.
Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Inside the skeleton castle on the island of Oni. Frankie carries a dying Zoro on his back to find Chopper for healing. Everyone converged towards the main hall. In the treasure hall on the second floor, with the Knights Guard Captain Merrimax and his party. Kazuki Hiyori was full of tears as he looked at the Kurozumi Orochi, who was headed by Merrimax's sword.
20 years later, it's finally a big revenge, father, mother, woohoo. Although the enemy is dead, Kazuki Hiyori's heart is still full of sorrow. What an ugly and disgusting Hydra. In the escort, Marista's princess of subjugation, Lilith's delicate face is full of disgust abandonment. Obviously a very powerful devil fruit, but in the hands of Yuki Orochi, it has become so ugly, weak. Sure enough, the king is the most handsome. Lilith thought of Davy's transformation into a white dragon, the stalwart-like gesture of a god, and she couldn't help but miss it. Princess. At this moment, Kwang Shilong broke in with his sword raised, with a serious and upright look on his face. Looking at the ground, Kurozumi Orochi's headless corpse was silent. You are. Kazuki Hiyori looked at Kurashiro in surprise. I am. Denjiro. Denjiro revealed his identity with a smile that was different from being hidden for many years. It's you, Denjiro. Hearing this, Kazuki Hiyori immediately showed a look of joy. Yes, I'm sorry, Princess Hiwa, I'm late. Denjiro walked in front of Kazuki Hiyori, knelt down in the identity of Kazuki Hiyori, and buried his head deeply. Advertisement failed to kill Kurozumi Orochi with his own hands to avenge the general. It was his biggest regret. Denjiro sighed inwardly. Hi, it's all right, just get up, Uncle Denjiro. Kazuki Hiyori sobbed, restraining his sadness, and tidied up his demeanor slightly. Yes, Princess Hiwa. Denjiro stood up, turned his head to look at the crowd of Mermaids, and said. Thank you all for your protection of Princess Rehei, I am grateful. In the future, if Wano Kuni wins and stabilizes, he will definitely come to thank him. 5. Denjiro expressed his gratitude very solemnly. Well, now that the Kurozumi serpent is dead, let's go to the main hall and assemble. Malamax didn't say no excuses, after all, they really helped each other. Be grateful and reciprocate it as well. Take this guy's body away. Glancing at the dead body of the Kurozumi serpent, Malamus said to his subordinates. Yes. Inside the banquet hall, Tornado's face was flat, and he removed the shield of thought power. A large amount of seawater rushes into each floor, each open room, and the fire inside and outside the entire city is gradually annihilated, and finally flows out of Ghost Island Skeleton City. A large amount of seawater flowed out, extinguishing the flame clouds created by Kaido, and the entire Ghost Island shook briefly. It's just that Momonosuke's flame cloud skyrocketed, instantly stabilizing Onigashima. Really, it's good that I respond quickly. Tornado waved his hand in disgust, fanning away the peculiar smell of the seawater sprayed from the elephant's trunk. She didn't know that this was the seawater collected by the 9 heroes of the Red Sheath, Lizang, who bathed the elephant. Only now has it been liberated by Reizang, and with the help of Jinbei, these seawaters flow and wash away the layers of the Ghost Island castle. Extinguish the raging flames. Otherwise, the tornado who knows the truth will be even more disgusted. Advertisement. Fortunately, the tornado didn't want the sea to soak his body, so he released the psychic shield to protect himself and the daughters of Hannibal. 66.99 Neutra had a gloomy look on his face. Wet all over, wondering what the hell is the bastard doing the right thing. Motivating Ryotsu, the water evaporated from the drenched Shu Yegang uniform. Some people in Doflamingo are not much better, and they all push their own abilities and dry themselves. Finally, have you defeated Kaido? Who? The Straw Hat Master. 1. Kid and Luo were lying on the ground, surrounded by a group of soldiers from Christy Kingdom. Chopper and the goat doctor and nurse of the fur tribe hang their lives. However, the eyes of the two of them looked at the people of Hannibal, and their eyes couldn't help showing a look of extreme fear. That terrifying woman, but the terrifying woman who brutally defeated them and almost killed them all. How can these guys be friendly at one time and enemy at the same time? This change made them really uneasy. Even now Luffy beat Kaido. But the next step is not sure. What they will face is the army of Christy Kingdom. Asterisk hash asterisk. So, is the real purpose of these guys actually Wano Kuni?
Kid secretly hates that these goddamn Christy Kingdom armies are so picky about their time. Lord Tornado, my subordinates have brought Princess Hiwa to behead the General Wano Kuni Kurozumi Orochi, and the mission has been completed.
Following the exclamations of the samurai, Merrimax and his party, along with Kazuki Hiyori, followed Denjiro. Came to the main hall with the corpse of Kurozumi Orochi, and walked to the Tornado Hannibal and several people.
Kneeling down on one knee, he said respectfully.
Denjiro and Kazuki Hiyori both looked horrified when they saw Kaido's motionless huge dragon body. Kaido was actually defeated. Advertisement, well, good. Clean up the entire battlefield and prepare to take over Wano Kuni. Tornado waved his hand, a large Kurozumi snake, and she was not interested in answering.
Just looking at the burnt appearance of the Kurozumi snake, ordinary people would feel nauseated and vomited, and had no appetite to eat for a few days.
Yes. Malamax immediately took the order seriously and began to arrange for some soldiers to clean up the battlefield. Is this Princess Hiwa? Really, is Princess Hiwa not dead?
Princess. Boss Leopard Guro, is this true? Some old warriors exclaimed in surprise when they saw Hiyori and the name of Merrimax. He hurriedly asked Shishao Jusha and others. It's true. 39. Several of the 9 heroes who were seriously injured and wrapped in bandages smiled and nodded.
It's really the princess, that's great, woo.
Princess. 35. Luo. After receiving the acknowledgement, the samurai went crazy in an instant.
As they approached Kazuki Hiyori, many people fell to their knees in tears. That's that guy Kurozumi Orochi, isn't he killed by the 9 heroes long ago? I didn't expect that he was still alive, no, he was killed again.
Good to die. When they saw the corpse of the Kurozumi serpent brought by the soldiers of Christy Kingdom, there was another commotion. Chapter 249 The Demon King is coming. Frightened people, please complete the order.
Previous chapter next chapter advertisement, Sister Tornado, are you going to take over Wano Kuni?
Nami, who suddenly came to his senses, looked at the tornado in surprise. Didn't I say help Kazuki to retake Wano Kuni last time?
How come it has become Wano Kuni now? Could it be that their real purpose in the first place was to snatch and conquer Wano Kuni? Nami, Robin and the others were all stunned, thinking that this is the real truth.
How can there be no aid for no reason? The huge and terrifying kingdom of Christy will send a large army.
Come to Wano Kuni to help them, and finally return Wano Kuni to the Kazuki family. It was only then that they recalled that the kingdom of Christy had set off countless national wars all over the world.
A terrifying being that has conquered dozens of kingdoms.
Now, Christy Kingdom is still fighting many wars in New World, conquering kingdoms one by one. What? Bastard thing. Lousy doesn't agree. Whoever wants to snatch Wano Kuni, first ask the samurai sword in his hand. That's right. I will swear to death. 18. No matter who it is, I will hold high the samurai sword and cut down the enemy. 35. Bastards Christy Corps, get out of Wano Kuni. 6699. One word makes 1,000 waves. A question from Nami instantly stirred the emotions of thousands of samurai. Advertisement. Everyone turned their fierce eyes towards Tornado and the others.
Denjiro also showed a look of danger and strong doubt in an instant, posing a posture ready to attack at any time.
Wano Kuni has already had a tragic experience of being snatched. Now he has finally defeated Kaido and defeated the dark rule of Kurozumi and Kaido. He, Chuanjiro, will never allow such a thing to happen again. Even if he sacrificed his life, he would never let the enemy succeed. You guys, do you want to die? Looking at this group of warriors who do not know whether to live or die, they dare to look at them like this.
Tornado's beautiful eyes narrowed slightly, and a suffocating aura instantly enveloped the audience. A group of warriors who do not know whether to live or die, what gave them the courage to shout with them?
Could it be that they seem to have been helping them eliminate the 4 emperors' cadres and minions?
Are they really allies of Wano Kuni Momonosuke and the Straw Hat Alliance?
Now that the 2 4 emperors pirates and the Kurozumi Orochi have been dealt with, how dare you draw a knife at them?
You know, if it wasn't for Tornado's interest in the so-called Fire Festival night in this country, he deliberately didn't start a war in advance.
Just to experience the grandeur of the Fire Festival night. A few days ago, this country had to be conquered by the Kingdom of Christy. How could it be the people of the Straw Hat Alliance to do it? It seems that before taking over Wano Kuni, these people have to be killed.
After all, what the Christy Kingdom wanted was an obedient and absolutely obedient vassal. All other disobedient voices must be cleaned up. Even if all of them are replaced by people from Christy Kingdom. No, not so. 35. Advertisement. At this moment, Kazuki Hiyori hurriedly stood up and faced his father's former subordinates. His red lips were lightly opened, and there were tears on his delicate and beautiful face, and he explained, Lord Tornado and Lord Hannibal, who once saved my life, also promised me to take back Wano Kuni and let the Kazuki family continue to run Wano Kuni.
Please don't misunderstand, uncles, and cause bad consequences.
He song, Denjiro, believe me. 35. At this moment, Kazuki Hiyori, who was determined not to bow his head to the evil forces, said with a serious and solemn expression. His majesty and seriousness combined with Yamato Nadeko's temperament are convincing. Except for Tornado and others, who had promised himself before.
Kazuki Hiyori is also extremely afraid of the power of Tornado and others, and feels the pressure that can never be resisted. If it really pissed off the opponent, the group of uncles in front of me, I am afraid they can all be wiped out.
Hearing this, Leopard Guro and the Red Sheath 9 heroes fell silent. Thinking about it, it seems to be the same. After all, the strength displayed by the other party, they did not see it. Defeat 4 Emperors Charlotte Lingling with ease.
The terrifying power of these monsters to kill the most senior cadres, the 3 major kanbans, and Fei Liubao. Coupled with the tens of thousands of soldiers who surrounded the hall, everyone was secretly shocked.
Without this, they have not realized the seriousness of the problem.
If the other party is really ruthless, there is a real possibility that you and others will be slaughtered by the other party. In an instant, everyone felt a chill in their hearts, and they were frightened into a cold sweat. Just kidding, Kurozumi and Kaido were defeated by them. Wano Kuni has basically been retaken, if it is just destroyed.
Even if they go to hell, they will definitely regret it.
Nami and the others gradually calmed down after hearing the words. Advertisement. It's just that I still feel a little strange in my heart. But the Red Sheath 9 heroes and the samurai chose to believe in Kazuki Hiyori, and they couldn't say anything more.
That is, when this group of ignorant warriors was quelled.
A brilliant space Uzumaki suddenly appeared in the middle of the hall.
A handsome young man in luxurious white clothes walked out of the Uzumaki with a crimson witch with a plump figure and a beautiful face.
143. This is. See Your Majesty the King.
See Your Majesty the King. 35. As soon as the figures of the two appeared, the entire banquet hall suddenly knelt down. The expressions of all the soldiers of the Christy Kingdom changed greatly.
Looking at the man in the air with a look of reverence and enthusiasm, he hurriedly knelt down on one knee and performed the ritual of worship. Even Ino Doflamingo and others are respectful, kneeling down on one knee and lowering their high heads. The voices of the soldiers visiting the shrine gathered together, piercing the clouds and cracking the rocks, resounding throughout the island of ghosts.
The people here are Davy and Irene, the Queen of Dragons.
Why is this bad guy here? Of course, as Davy's women, Tornado and Hannibal, of course, don't have to bow down.
However, he bowed slightly and gave his king the courtesy he deserved. With so many soldiers and subordinates on the scene, it is necessary to save face.
It is true that when I was in the palace, I would cry and ask my father to beg for mercy when I was instructed by Davy.
Chapter 250 The Surrendered Son and the Angry Samurai. Please complete the order.
Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Get up.
Nodding slightly, he glanced at the entire hall indifferently.
Seeing the frenzied gazes on the faces of the soldiers, Davy nodded in satisfaction.
As soon as these words came out, the soldiers stood up, and their eyes were adoring and fanatical, as if they saw the gods of faith.
The body stood upright, exuding a more ferocious aura, staring at everyone present.
Feeling the aura of these soldiers suddenly becoming more terrifying, the warriors of Wano Kuni swallowed. Somewhat fortunately they just talked about it verbally.
Otherwise, in the face of this group of soldiers, I am afraid that I will be torn apart.
What shocked them even more was that the handsome young man who suddenly appeared in front of them was the king of the kingdom to which this terrifying army belonged. The Straw Hat Pirates and the crew members of the pirates Luo and Kid were also moved.
Here comes the legendary strongest kingdom, king of Christy's kingdom, Davy.
The man who single-handedly turned an ordinary kingdom into a kingdom that now makes the world government have 3 points of courtesy. Only, this legendary king. Why did it suddenly appear here?
I seem to have heard it just now. Someone wants to get Christy's legion out of Wano Kuni?
Surrounding the towering snow peaks around Davy's arms, Irene, dressed in apricot but conservatively, showed a beautiful smile. A cold light flashed in his eyes, and he glanced at the warriors present. At the same time, an extraordinary, terrifying and majestic magic suddenly erupted, covering the entire ghost island.
Everyone except Wanakuna's army at the moment when the terrifying magic burst out.
Thousands of warriors and the 9 red scabbards turned pale in shock, their faces sank, and cold sweat oozes out. There was a continuous sound of thumping kneeling, and all of a sudden he fell to his knees. The samurai all surrendered to this magical power that Irene burst out. Feeling the heavy pressure of this terrifying magic power on their bodies, the warriors turned hideous and desperately resisted. Advertisement. They were both frightened and sad.
Why does Wano Kuni always meet so many terrifying powerhouses, all staring at Wano Kuni?
Just defeated 4 emperors pirates and Kurozumi Orochi. Here comes such a terrible kingdom again. Rouse these warriors who are not afraid of life and death, and they all feel tired for a while. It's so tortuous. Your Majesty, we have no intention of becoming an enemy of your country, please don't mind the momentary blunders of our samurai. Biting his red lips lightly, Kazuki Hiyori stood up and looked at Davy and said respectfully. She understands very well how powerful the king who can suppress and rule these terrifying characters must be. Such as her father, Kazuki Oden. It is precisely because of his strong strength and personal charm that he can have such powerhouses as the Red Sheath 9 heroes. Conquer the major bosses. Therefore, in addition to what Tornado promised before, she helped her to slash the Kurozumi Orochi. Kazuki Hiyori knelt down immediately. Choose to surrender.
Princess, son and princess. What are you doing, princess?
6699. Seeing this scene, the warriors' expressions changed greatly. The princess, who had been missing for many years, actually knelt down to others when she met them again.
What a shame this is. What a domineering woman. Nami Robin raised his head with difficulty, looking up at Irene who was standing in midair with Davy.
This inexplicable terrifying momentum is real. Advertisement. They all fell to the ground, struggling to move.
The other pirates were also terrified. Such a terrifying woman who was also a character in Christy's Kingdom. Even the four emperors' aunt did not give them such a terrifying feeling of oppression. Moreover, it is still an actual energy suppression force. Luo and Kid were squeezed by this huge magic force and coughed up a few mouthfuls of blood. Hateful. One horrible woman after another appeared. Kid almost doubts life. And four emperors doesn't matter. Why is that Hannibal so young and beautiful? In terms of strength, he can directly kill the four emperors' aunt and himself and Luo. Now there's another woman who looks even scarier.
Thinking about it, Kid pulled the injury and spit out a mouthful of blood.
It was passed out. The reason is nothing but a woman who has seen too many ceiling-level combat power in a short period of time.
He was stunned by his own strength. Beside him, Luo sighed slightly.
Eustace is headed, really. Forget it, there is no life-threatening situation for the time being, so just lie down. After thinking about it, Luo directly closed his eyes. Irene with a cold face was about to speak, but Davy raised his hand, and Irene understood instantly. This is what her beloved Lord King is about to speak in person. Immediately, he smiled slightly, showing a beautiful smile, his head resting on Davy's strong arms. From now on, Wano-kuni is a vassal of the Christy Kingdom, and everything is based on the will of the Christy Kingdom.
Advertisement. The obedient kneel down, the disobedient stand up and die. The obedient will prosper, and the disobedient will perish. Standing in the air, Davy's handsome face was indifferent.
A single sentence determines Wano-kuni's future destiny. Now that he has an invincible army and strength, he will not talk to a group of Wano-kuni warriors about treaty cooperation.
It was the army he dispatched, and he asked Tornado to annihilate the four emperors' pirates, and by the way, Wano-kuni was occupied and ruled.
Now that both four emperors' pirates have been routed, conquer Wano-kuni. It also went smoothly, and as Davy's words came out, the whole hall exploded.
Have you Zhao? The Red Sheath 9 and thousands of samurai and fur warriors all boiled over.
Their country has been invaded by powerful foreign enemies again. Asshole. Fight them. Lousy can't take it anymore, even if he dies, he will never give in.
Samurai, fight with them. Several 9 heroes who gathered here to heal their wounds also supported their severely injured bodies.
His face was extremely ugly, and he looked at Davy and the others with anger. Stop, everyone. Suddenly, a dragon chant came from the dome. A peach-pink dragon flew down from the cracked hole in the dome.
This dragon is Momonosuke, and on his dragon head, stood Yamato, and Luffy, who was seriously injured and lying unconscious. Chapter 251 Mutation. Kaido on the rise. Momo no help. Please complete order.
Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. After controlling the flame cloud, let it slowly fly away from the area above Wano-kuni.
Feeling the terrifying magic power of Irene, Momonosuke was terrified by Yamato's urging.
He rushed back to the city and saw that another war was about to break out. And since the enemy was still that terrifying kingdom, Momonosuke was so frightened that he hurriedly opened his mouth and stopped. As Momonosuke, who has been wandering around Kinemon for a long time, he clearly knows that the kingdom of Christy is terrifying. In addition, what Yamato mentioned to him also made him know the identities of Tornado and others. This made Momonosuke clearly realize that now they can't afford such a terrifying behemoth at all. Looking at the scene where he had not yet fought with him, Momonosuke secretly breathed a sigh of relief. It's okay, it's almost over. Momonosuke swallowed his throat, and his heart skipped a beat. If he came a little later, it would probably be over. Yes, it's Momonosuke-sama, Master Young Master. Momonosuke-kun. 9966. 99 Momonosuke's return has lifted the spirits of all the samurai and fur tribesmen, and they all look happy. I have to say, although Momonosuke doesn't have much strength. But as the son of Kazuki Oden, as the future successor of Wano-kuni. The samurai, who were born with the Kazuki 147 Oden, were born with reasons and beliefs to choose to follow and be loyal to him. With the return of Momonosuke, the samurai also quieted down a bit. However, there was still an indignant look on his face. Your Majesty King Christy, do you want me to take Wano-kuni as a vassal state? Advertisement. Hearing the words of the 9 heroes beside him, Momonosuke Ryusho's expression was startled. Looking at Davy's expression a little terrified. This legendary big man has his eyes on them Wano-kuni? Sure enough, it's almost the same as what Yamato said. However, Momonosuke didn't quite believe it. Will the people of this kingdom really set Wano-kuni free and not become a slave nation? Give you a minute to consider and surrender to me. It is still up to the Legion under my subordinates to start the war in person and take Wano-kuni. Looking at the contemplative Momonosuke, Davy was not in a hurry at all. However, it will not be very tolerant to give each other a few days to consider. A mere Wano-kuni territory, Davy only gave him a minute to think. Kill all those who are disobedient, keep those who are obedient, and then conquer. Taking advantage of Momonosuke, who was in deep thought, Usopp and the others saw Luffy, who was lightly placed on the ground by Momonosuke. He also rushed forward in a hurry, and Chopper and a few fur tribe goat doctors and nurses immediately treated Luffy. While Luffy was receiving treatment, Momonosuke fell into a moment of contemplation. Suddenly, there was a loud bang. Hey la 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 la, damn Momonosuke, die for me, 35. Kaido, who had been lying still, suddenly burst out, swung Xinglong's body and slashed towards Momonosuke. The terrifying Ryuko directly bit Momonosuke's neck. What? Kaido isn't dead yet. Damn it, this bastard is pretending. Master, young master. No one thought that Kaido, who should have been defeated and killed, actually pretended to be dead. Instead of being defeated and dying, he chose to fake death, knowing that he was defeated by Natsu. Advertisement: Kaido was indeed defeated, but he still had some stamina. The reason for being dormant for so long is to kill Momonosuke. He will never leave the descendants of Kazuki Oden alive to take back the position of general after Wano-kuni. He's going to kill Momosuke. Ha ha ha, Oden, just let me take your son to death. Wano-kuni. You Kazuki family, there is no heir, oh la 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 la. Kaido laughed wildly, biting Momonosuke's neck, blood spurting out. Momonosuke suddenly screamed and wailed. Almost everyone did not react, and Momonosuke was already bitten by Kaido death, BIFD. They were both carried away by the overwhelming joy of Kaido's defeat. If Kaido is really defeated and killed, then how can Kaido still maintain the Cyan Dragon body? Bastard! Let me go, young master. Denjiro's eyes flashed with anger and self-blame. He drew his samurai sword, and his figure flashed. The figure turned into an afterimage, came to the top of Kaido, and slashed out with a sword attached to armament hockey. Peefed. Wow, it's too shallow, kid, go drink milk for another 2 years. Ha 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 ha, 35. A crescent-shaped wound appeared on Kaido's dragon's back, and Kaido was only stabbed. He laughed indifferently. So many 9 heroes can't help him, let alone one person. Damn it. 35. Denjiro's face is extremely gloomy. This is Kaido. Frightening, shocking, super scary monsters. Ouch, help me. Advertisement. Momonosuke screamed in horror. Just as the 9 heroes were about to get up, they affected their severely injured bodies, unable to move at all, they could only watch. Leopard Guro Shudenmaru and other samurai were also frightened and angered, and rushed towards Kaido. Scumbags, get out! However, Kaido just stared at the dragon, Conqueror's haki stirred, and the dragon tail swept away. Hundreds of samurai who rushed forward were swept away, and the whole audience was stunned by Conqueror's haki. Even Jushinmaru, who was so strong that he was able to rely on the ship king in 1 second, would not be able to please him, not to mention Leopard Guro, whose strength was greatly reduced in age. Even the Straw Hat Crew folks are asking for help. But the 3 strongest forces have no spare power to shoot, and the attacks of Nami and several people are just scratching the itch. Thunder 8 trigrams. 39. When Yamato saw that Momonosuke was about to be killed, he was very anxious. Instantly transformed into a human beast form, with a single strike of thunder, 8 trigrams smashed towards Kaido. Seeing his daughter helping an outsider to kill him, Kaido also cursed in his heart. However, after lying down for a while, I recovered a lot of physical strength. Pulling the screaming Momonosuke into the sky, Yamato saw that Kaido actually grabbed Momonosuke to resist her attack. He couldn't help but shouted angrily, despicable. For a time, with Momonosuke as a hostage, she was not very good at taking action. Seeing this, everyone was a little disappointed. Lord Tornado, please, save my brother. Kazuki Hiyori's heart was ablaze with anxiety after seeing that everyone's efforts to save him were unsuccessful. For the first time, she thought of the Tornado Girls. Quickly came to the front of the dragon roll, and begged for the little white hand holding the dragon roll. Chapter 252. The Surrendered Samurai. Kaido exploded. Please order all. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. You'd better go and ask the noble king. Tornado's face was still a little cold. The reaction of the warriors just now made her a little unhappy. Now facing Kazuki Hiyori's request, he seems a little indifferent. When Kazuki Hiyori heard the words, he felt very uncomfortable, knowing that it was the samurai who made Tornado unhappy just now. He turned his head to look at Davy in the midair, took a dozen steps, came to Davy's body, and immediately knelt down. The concubine's representative, Wano-kuni, agreed to you, asking you to save my brother. From now on, Wano-kuni will be a subordinate country of the great Christy Kingdom. Everything will follow your will, and you will never dare to disobey. Lord Christy. Kazuki Hiyori's soft voice was unusually firm and decisive at this moment. This time, the warriors hesitated to speak, but they were speechless. Because now, only the people of Christy Kingdom have the strength to rescue their Wano-kuni master from Kaido's mouth. Please save the young master, my esteemed Lord Christy. That's right, from now on, my samurai will be the blade in the hands of King Christy. Please, please. Point 95. Head down. The arrogant warriors all chose to bow their heads and surrender when their young master was facing death. The samurai, who had already been suppressed by successive blows and had lingering fears, obeyed Kazuki Hiyori's wishes upon seeing this. Now that Hiyori and the princess are doing so, then in order to save the young master's life, they also admitted it. Not to mention, when they knelt down and surrendered, they would suddenly feel at ease in their hearts. Advertisement. As everyone knows, this is just a reason for them to find a self-comforting reason for surrendering to others.
Seeing this group of samurai's present attitude, Tornado snorted coldly. Disdain glanced around, and finally looked at Davy. Hallible's sisters also looked at Davy at the same time, with inexplicable brilliance in their eyes. With a slight smile at the Tornado girls, Davy's thin lips parted lightly, but he didn't say a word. But what he wanted to say had already entered the minds of the Tornado girls. The Tornadoes immediately blushed and looked at him strangely. Looking at the cute appearance of the blushing faces of the Tornado Hallible girls, Davy laughed secretly. It is good. Remember what you said, if there is any violation, there is no need for Wano-kuni to exist. Afterwards, when Davy looked at the warriors, the 9 heroes of the Red Sheath, his eyes were slightly cold. He raised his head slightly and looked at Kaido, who was almost suspended from the ceiling, in the position of a huge hole. Whoever allows you to overlook this king, get down. 99. Suddenly, Davy's deep pupils glared. A terrifying heavy pressure descended. The majestic golden Reiatsu descended from the sky suddenly, and instantly enveloped Kaido's whole body. It seems that the space has become stagnant and still under the influence of this terrifying force. Substantial golden spiritual rain fell, accompanied by a heavy oppression that crushed and smashed the soul. This is Conqueror's Haki. Bang bang. It took less than a moment and a half to hold on at all, at the moment when Kaido felt the majesty of this terror and oppression. His huge azure dragon body could no longer withstand this force, and directly from the sky, like a piece of Wongyong smashed down, his body was heavily smashed to the floor. Rumble boom. Advertisement. 2 huge dragons with a height of hundreds of meters smashed down, causing a shocking sense of shaking in the entire city. The wooden floor and the concrete floor below collapsed one after another, and a large amount of debris and smoke filled the air. Almost everyone looked at Davy of Kamui in horror.
With just one look, the aura that burst out can directly knock the mighty and invincible Kaido down from the sky. What terrifying power does it take to be able to do this?
At this moment, the warriors, the Red Sheath 9 heroes, and the Fur Tribe warriors, who were a little dissatisfied in their hearts, were all influenced by the power displayed by Davy.
Deeply shocked, all of them are under the Kamui of Davy at this time. How is this possible? Feeling the terrifying power pressing on him, Kaido fell into a state of confusion. He could clearly sense that this was clearly the power of Conqueror's Haki. But at the same time, in this Conqueror's Haki, there is also a mysterious power that directly affects his soul. Damn. Why? A fire-breathing kid is so powerful. Ask for flowers. Now even the goddamn king of Christy has come in person. Trouble. 35. In the smoke, Kaido's dragon head had a grim face, still biting Momonosuke's neck. The moment he saw Davy coming in person, he felt bad for the whole person. Sure enough, the opponent's power was 100 times more terrifying than he imagined. With his current state, let alone whether he can beat him or not, even in his heyday, he feels he can't beat him. Not to mention now, whether he can get out of here alive is a big question. Woo, Momonosuke's face was extremely pale, and the 2 Longan eyes became blood red. Kaido pressed down half of his body and almost spit him blood. Advertisement: this is the first time he has transformed into a huge dragon form, and his body is far less powerful and sturdy than Kaido. This time, he only felt the bones all over his body trembling and clicking, and the flesh and blood had a huge sore feeling of being squashed. What a horrible guy. The cigarette in Sanji's hand, which was wrapped in bandages, fell directly, and he looked at Davy with a horrified expression. Thinking back 2 years ago, it was because of the man in front of them that they were able to escape from Marine Admiral Kizaru's hands. Although it was later broken up by the violent Kun Bear. The shock of everyone present did not affect Davy at all. I saw him raised his hand and grabbed it, and a wave of thought force gathered, choking Kaido's Qinglong body to death. Woo, let go, the body is going to split. The invisible big hand formed by the terrifying thought force grabbed Xinglong's body, and Kaido couldn't help screaming and wailing. Hurry up and let me go, or I'll kill him immediately. Feeling this invisible force getting stronger and stronger, Kaido roared angrily. Hearing this, Davy's face suddenly turned cold. Threatening Momonosuke's life? This old guy really thought that the reason he shot was to save Momonosuke? No one can threaten me, die. As Davy's words fell, the power of psychic power suddenly skyrocketed, under everyone's attention. Kaido, fried. Chapter 253 Peach's help, please complete the order. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Under the control of Davy's psychic power, the Qinglong body, which was hundreds of meters long, kept squeezing and squeezing. In Kaido's horrified screams, he was directly crushed. The Kaido, which was crushed and fried into several pieces, also loosened the dragon's mouth that bit Momonosuke's neck. Momonosuke hurriedly supported the last force and broke free from the ferocious fangs. Momonosuke, who had escaped death, flew several hundred meters and fell heavily on the ground. Ooh! Kaido screamed incessantly, and the sudden burst of his body made him completely unimaginable. He couldn't imagine that his body, the world's most powerful creature in the sea, land and air, would be crushed by someone today. This is something he never imagined. As the strongest creature in the sea, land and air, one day, he will be crushed so easily by people. Damn it. Woo! Kaido, who only had a dragon head left in 147, looked at Davy, who was high above, like a god who dominates everything. With resentment and fear in his eyes, Kaido, who has an almost undead physique, still shows extremely terrifying vitality even if he has a dragon head and a body left. Even so, he did not die immediately. It's just that Davy's power makes him daunted, but... Kaido's eyes turned bitter towards Momonosuke, who was dying, and his eyes suddenly became fierce. A Davy who is more powerful and terrifying than Espada can't beat him. Can he beat that kid who is not even skilled in using fruit? At the same time, Denjiro, who noticed Kaido's resentful eyes, was taken aback. The other red scabbard 9 warriors also turned pale in shock. This damn monster suffered such injuries. Only a head and a body are left, and it is not dead yet? Protect the young master. No, Kaido isn't dead yet. Advertisement, quickly protect the young master. 66.99 Seeing Kaido's venomous and hateful eyes, all the warriors felt a chill in their hearts. All resisted in front of Momonosuke to prevent Kaido from fighting back. Momosuke, die for me. The descendants of Odin must not be left to survive. Suddenly, Kaido's dragon head erupted, and it suddenly turned into the shape of a fire dragon, and a mouthful of dragon flames spewed out. Boom. 35. It's so hot, it's melting. The terrifying flame instantly turned the samurai who stood in front of Momonosuke to ashes. Several Red Sheath 9 warriors felt the scorching high temperature, and when they approached, the clothes and bandages on the surface were already burning. The smell of barbecue emanated from their bodies, knocking them down again, who were already seriously injured and on the verge of death. Cut. Denjiro and Shudenmaru both jumped up, drew their swords and slashed out, and a crossed sword light rushed towards the flames and breathed out. Oh lol, die, Momonosuke. The only thing that changed the expressions of the two of them was that after the flames were chopped up, Kaido appeared in the form of a fire dragon. The two dragon claws grabbed the two directly, and the terrifying high-temperature flame burned. Denjiro and Shudenmaru screamed in agony, and they were thrown away by Kaido and fell heavily. Wow, a terrifying force erupted, and both of them spat out a mouthful of blood. Let me take you to death, flame 8 trigrams. Advertisement pong. A flaming dragon head suddenly appeared. Although the huge flaming dragon had only one head and only one remaining body, it still erupted with shocking and terrifying power. The ferocious and terrifying flame dragon exudes a scalding high temperature, and the samurai at this moment are resisting in front of Momonosuke one after another. Without exception, all were either burned to death or melted. 35 The next moment, Kaido bit Momonosuke in one bite, and the fierce flame eroded with high temperature. Momonosuke let out a shrill scream. Not dead yet? Seeing this, a strange color flashed in Davy's eyes. Unexpectedly, Kaido's vitality is so tenacious, he is simply an immortal little strong. However, he did not save Momonosuke in the first place, and Momonosuke's life and death had nothing to do with him at all. However, Kazuki Hiyori looked at him with poignant and pleading eyes again with tears in his eyes. Others also looked at him one after another, and many warriors cried out and prayed sadly. After seeing this scene, Davy finally shot again. Absolute zero. Kaka. I saw Davy's eyes blinking, his arms raised, his palms open, and a touch of Ultimate's icy aura swept in all directions. Forest white and blue ice rays blasted out, hitting Kaido in an instant, just for a moment. Kaido, who was full of terrifying flames and high temperature, and Momonosuke, who was bitten, were frozen into a deformed iceberg. Looking around, it is a fire dragon head biting a complete dragon, which is very eye-catching. However, the warriors present were not in the mood to appreciate it. Because that is their Wano-kuni young master, the future heir to the Wano-kuni Admiral Army. Master young master, little lord, advertisement. Peach-kun. 5. Peach-kun. 66.99 Seeing Momonosuke being frozen into an iceberg together, the Red Sheath 9 heroes, Leopard Guro, Shudenmaru, and Straw Hat Crew crowded around one after another. This, your majesty, the young master is also frozen. This, Leopard Guro shouted anxiously towards Davy. Your majesty, please release the young master quickly, he is definitely still alive and needs to be treated immediately. The crowd shouted. Chopper and the fur doctors and nurses are dealing with Luffy's injuries. However, he still shouted, raised his furry head, and looked serious. Lord King. At this time, Davy also fell from the air, and Irene still held his hand. Kazuki Hiyori looked at the two approaching, and hurriedly greeted them with a gust of fragrance. The whole person threw himself directly into Davy's broad chest, the sturdy body, and the masculine atmosphere different from the handsome appearance, combined with the inexplicable mysterious temperament. 5.3 Kazuki Hiyori's delicate and beautiful face blushed, but the thought of Momonosuke immediately replied. Looking at Davy tearfully. To be honest, Kazuki Hiyori like this really made Davy's eyes glow with delight. Kazuki Hiyori is worthy of Wanokuna's #1 beauty, both in terms of body, appearance and temperament. Seeing how anxious everyone was, Davy shook his head slightly. Momonosuke, who was hit hard one after another, was almost dead after being frozen and then thawed out. However, Davy didn't keep the warriors waiting, and snapped his fingers. The iceberg that belonged to Momonosuke gradually melted away, revealing the huge dragon body of Momonosuke. Chapter 254 The Fallen Ghost Island, please complete the order. Previous chapter Next chapter advertisement The ice that had frozen Momonosuke melted, and Momonosuke's huge pink dragon body was revealed. It's just that the samurai discovered that their young master, Momonosuke, was suffering from a series of injuries, and now there is only one breath left. Then he changed back to his human form, and his eyelids could hardly be lifted. He half opened his tired eyelids. Hey, sorry, everyone, below, I'm afraid I won't be able to fight. As he spoke, Momonosuke's eyelids were almost squinted into slits, and he looked extremely weak. However, Momonosuke's neck was actually bitten with a bone-deep gap. The wounds and blood were all boiled dry. Don't talk, Momoko-kun. Immediately give you emergency treatment. Hold on, Momoko-kun. Chopper anxiously began to deal with the wound for Momonosuke, and there were 2 fur nurses helping out. The goat doctor was dressing Luffy and didn't come. Chopper seems to be very in a hurry to take care of himself alone, compared to Momonosuke's current injury is too dangerous. May die at any time. It's just that with the passage of time 18, a group of people around them all looked anxious and worried. With a nervous look on his face, he kept praying for his young master in his heart. However, Chopper's face became more and more ugly. Momonosuke's injuries were completely beyond his expectations. Biting the blood hole, the bones were broken and shattered in many places, and there were many burns. This can't be saved. Save me, Chopper Eamon, ahem. Advertisement. Momonosuke cried for help with tears in his eyes. I'm sorry, Peach-kun. Just looking at Chopper, who suddenly fell silent, Momonosuke's heart sank, and he couldn't help feeling sad. Ahem, woohoo, forget it, I also died as a hero who defended Wano-kuni. Chopper Eamon, don't blame you. Unfortunately, I can't be Wano-kuna's general. Hiyori, the future of Wano-kuni, I leave it to you. After saying that, Momonosuke tilted his head, and finally he couldn't bear the serious fatal injury and died. Peaches. Seeing Momonosuke, who lost his life completely in front of him, Kazuki Hiyori was suddenly in grief, with a poignant gesture that I felt pity for. Together with Xiaoyu, he knelt down beside Momonosuke and cried. That's right, Luo, he can exchange souls with others. Where's Luo? 35. Suddenly, Nami's eyes lit up, and he suddenly recalled that he and others had been exchanged souls in Punk Hazard Island. Fortunately, I swapped bodies with Robin at that time, otherwise I don't know how embarrassing it would be. It's too late, Nami, Usopp said in a low, heavy voice. Even so, there will be a day when the soul will return to the original owner, and then the Peach-kun will also die. Intellectual Oni-san, Robin said calmly. Hearing this, Nami looked at Luo and Kid, who were surrounded by Christy soldiers. He opened his mouth and fell silent again, and the warriors turned from joy to sorrow after hearing this, and wept again with sadness. Standing beside Kaido's body, Yamato was silent for a moment. Not knowing what to say. Advertisement from a young age, she hated herself Kaido. Also in this war, he completely hated his biological father Kaido. Because Kaido didn't lie to her, the handcuffs that he put on her since she was a child are indeed a pair of handcuffs that will explode. He really has the determination to kill her, however, now Kaido is really dead in front of her. Yamato suddenly felt a little melancholy again. He didn't have the kind of pain and pleasure he had imagined to get rid of evil at all. Instead, he felt blocked and uncomfortable. Hey, with a sigh, Yamato turned to leave, walking to the side of the samurai who were kneeling beside Momonosuke's body. Kaido is dead, and Momonosuke is killed by Kaido before he dies. What's next for Wano-kuni? Yamato's eyes looked at Momonosuke's body, and then at Kazuki Hiyori. It seems that the next successor to Wano-kuna's general will be a female general? Shouldn't it? Yamato shook his head. As a general who controls a country, he can't really suppress the pawns below without a strong strength. Lord King. On the other side, I saw the king of my own family landed. Tornado Hallible and his sons and daughters came to Davy with a group of summoned characters. Even Natsu, who defeated Kaido Luffy on the dome of Skull City, Hubby, Stark, and Lilynette all came down. Respectfully knelt down to salute. Among them, Doflamingo's expression is particularly fiery and reverent. The one in front of him is the god he believes in. What gods from 800 years ago, what shit celestial dragons. In front of this man, he was not even qualified to lift his shoes or lick the soles of them. Advertisement, thanks for your hard work. Looking at the people who were kneeling and saluting, Davy nodded slightly and said with a smile. Saying that, a thought force lifted everyone up. I would like to serve the king. Everyone was warm in their hearts. The king actually traveled thousands of miles to come here to condolence to them in person. Your Majesty, you are so considerate of your subordinates. Natsu, you did a good job. Dai 147 looked at Natsu gently and praised with a smile. Ha ha ha, that old man is quite strong, although he is also a dragon, but compared to my father, it looks really strange. Natsu laughed, his hands behind his head, not as crazy as the Espadas. However, Davy's praise still made him very happy. My lord Davy, what do I do next? The tornado stepped forward, took Davy's other arm, and snorted at Eren Zhao. Since Momonosuke is dead, let Kazuki Hiyori take over as Wano-kuna's female general. Rectify Wano-kuni and cut off all those who are disobedient. 35. Leave these things to Neutra Doflamingo, they have the experience. Davy squeezed Tornado's petite smooth chin and lowered his head for a kiss. I didn't care if there was anyone else beside me, I just did it if I wanted to. Tornado immediately blushed his delicate little face and nodded lightly. Just when she was about to say something, the entire island of ghosts suddenly shook, shaky. Oops, Onigashima, it's going to fall. Chapter 255 Shocking Tornado, please complete order. Previous chapter next chapter advertisement. The one who exclaimed was none other than Nami, who was beside Momonosuke's corpse. Oni Island is about to fall. Kaido, who originally created the flame cloud to control the flight of Onigashima, dies. The second Momonosuke to take control is now dead too. Now that there is no flame cloud created by two dragons, the controlled Ghost Island will soon lose the only remaining thin flame cloud and fall rapidly. Nami, Usopp and the others were so frightened that their faces turned pale, and their souls almost floated out. Just thinking about it, Nami's whole person is not good. This is thousands of meters in the sky. If the entire island falls, can they still have intact bodies? Not to mention the pirates such as Nami, Sanji, Luo, etc., the Red Scabbard 9 heroes and all the samurai also all looked horrified. Thousands of samurai and conquered pirates all had expressions of fear and despair on their faces. They can't fly, and now the young master Momonosuke is also dead, and no one controls the flying Ghost Island. They are sure to die, however, compared to the reactions of pirates and samurai. The soldiers of Christy Kingdom were still standing upright, staring at the pirates with serious alertness. There was no fear at all from the death threat brought by the impending fall of Oni Island. Joke. There are so many big bosses in the kingdom present, and some are regarded by them as the son of the gods. His Majesty the King who descends from the gods is here. Fear? Non-existent. HMPH, do you still want me to finish? 99? It was the moment when almost everyone in the hall was in a panic and hesitant in this desperate atmosphere. The tornado's nice and crisp humming sound immediately attracted the attention of a large number of samurai pirates. Advertisement. The eyes of tens of thousands of people all looked at the tornado, only to see the petite and cute look on the opposite side. Many people showed doubts and disdain on their faces, and finally they turned to despair and hatred. After all, some of them have not seen the power of the tornado, so they are puzzled and disdain. The last is hatred for Kaido of the beasts and their pirates. It's just a small island, let me fly. Under the skeptical gazes of everyone, the tornado exudes the brilliance of greenery, and the petite and exquisite body is suspended. A crisp and cold voice sounded, and a terrifying invisible force erupted. Everyone suddenly felt an invisible swept past, which shocked them. Buzz. A transparent and invisible psychic power erupted, and in an instant, it enveloped the entire island of ghosts that began to fall. Let the wobbly and falling Oni Island be stabilized in an instant, as if growth took root in the sky. No, it should be said that it is more like a city in the sky floating in the sky. Huh? Stop. It's amazing, you don't have to fall to your death? That's great, ha 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 ha. 35. The Lord of Christy Kingdom is too strong. Really, amazing strength. Very scary. 6. The faces of the warriors who witnessed all this changed slightly. The Red Sheath 9 heroes, Leopard Guro and the others also looked solemn. The strength of these great figures in this kingdom is a little too terrifying. This is not an existence they can contend with at all. Advertisement. HMPH, it's done. Controlling the entire Ghost Island, Tornado snorted, and the delicate little face was full of pride. The telekinesis wrapped around the petite body, flew to Davy's side, raised his eyebrows slightly, and glanced at Davy secretly. Thanks a lot. Seeing this, Davy smiled. Is this taking credit for him? Reaching out and rubbing the other's small head, the latter snorted lightly, showing a micro-expression of enjoyment. Lord Davy. Hannibal also came over with 3 subordinate sisters. How are you having fun? Davy smiled slightly as he looked at Hannibal's missing fiery gaze. Very. Average. 35. After a long silence, Hannibal shook his head slightly in disappointment. Compared with Christy, which is developing at a high speed, there are various festivals and entertainment projects in the kingdom. Not a star and a half, there is absolutely no comparison at all. After all, it is just a small place that is closed to the country. Compared to the Christy Kingdom, which is now a continental kingdom, it is completely different from cloud and mud. Countless ordinary people and nobles all over the world want to join Christy Kingdom and become a citizen. Why? Because in the waters under the rule of this kingdom, no evil forces, especially pirates, are allowed. As long as you dare to enter its waters, you must be arrested and killed. Doflamingo's pirates have long since announced their disbandment. Advertisement. A kingdom of terror that even world government and naval headquarters dare not provoke. There is no evil force, pirate group intrusion, the kingdom that dare not touch, who doesn't want to be a member of that kingdom. However, the current Christy Kingdom no longer accepts third-class citizens. Today's third-class national status is only to be determined and prepared, and it has not been officially listed as a Christy national. There was once a third-class aristocrat who was preparing for national status, and he bought the right of identity from a second-class citizen, relying on his money and arrogance. If the other party did not give it, it angered the nobles, and the nobles would start with their families, and they were cleaned up by the Ghost Shadow Corps that night. For a time, many wealthy and powerful nobles who joined the kingdom were frightened. Never dared to think like this again. You can only wait honestly, when will the third-class status be completely settled? Report to His Majesty the King. The pirate Big Mom Charlotte, Dejao, Lingling has brought it here, please give your order. At this time, a centurion walked quickly in front of Davy and bowed respectfully on one knee to report. The centurion did not call Aunt Lingling the 4 emperors. After all, the one in front of him is the real Sea Emperor. A mere pirate captain, nothing more than thieves. Bring it here, Davy nodded, a look of anticipation in his eyes. Yes. The Centurion withdrew, less than a minute later. Soldiers from dozens of kingdoms transported the unconscious Charlotte Lingling. Now there are only four emperors left, Whitebeard and Kaido are both dead. And now that Aunt Lingling has also been transported by the soldiers, Davy has seen a lot of origin points and rewards beckoning to him. Chapter 256 Big Explosion, Rich Rewards, please order all. Previous chapter advertisement The Aunt Lingling, who was seriously injured and dying, was quickly transported by the soldiers. Davy couldn't help but be slightly surprised when he saw the state of Aunt Lingling's soul. Hallible actually destroyed Aunt Lingling's soul to a disgraceful extent. Although the ability of the soul fruit is slowly repairing the damaged soul, the Aunt Lingling will probably become an idiot after waking up. The powerhouse in the Shinigami world is really the one in the Tianke pirate world. No, it should be said that Tien conquers the vast majority of people in the world. The two races, the Shinigami and Manos Grande, born from the fusion of spirits and souls, have natural combat advantages. Mother. Seeing the presence of their mother, the remaining Charlotte children who were alive and able to move were all excited. Mom is still alive. Damn it bastard, Lego Mom, 35. Save Mom. Mom. 35. Mom, cheer up. Seeing that Charlotte Lingling was still alive, all the children shouted excitedly. As long as Mom can wake up and keep fighting, they'll be saved. Even Smoothie, who was imprisoned by telekinesis, had some expectations. It's just that when she saw that handsome man, her heart suddenly fell to the bottom 150. A real monster has descended. He easily wiped out the Blackbeard pirates in Summer War. With one move by one person, everyone on the entire battlefield can't lift their heads. All high-end combat power must work together to crack the Demon King of his moves. Christy Davy. Advertisement. Just talking about this man in front of you is already a feeling of deep despair, not to mention that there are so many subordinates of this Demon King present. To shut up. Whoa. A golden knife light flickered, and the voices of several Charlotte family officials suddenly stopped, blood sprayed, and they fell to the ground. 66.99 Neutra, who had killed several Charlotte family officials in an instant, sneered and stared at them with one icy biting eye. The members of the Charlotte family fell silent immediately, not daring to continue shouting. Glancing at the members of the Charlotte family with a cold expression, Davy then turned his gaze to Lingling. Black hole. Glancing at Aunt Lingling's huge body, Davy didn't talk too much nonsense. Raise your hand and wave. A smear of black light lost out, landed under the body of Big Mom, BIFD, Lingling, and rapidly expanded to form a dark black hole. I saw Aunt Lingling's body slowly sinking into it, and was gradually swallowed by the black hole surrounded by black gas. This is the ability combined with the power of shadow manipulation after devouring the dark fruit. The ability to completely devour, digest and decompose objects, and then convert them into pure power. The most important point is that this ability can completely strip the opponent's ability. The combined effect of shadow control plus dark fruit plus soul fruit is extremely terrifying. And the ghost shadow core is about to usher in an epic enhancement. Everyone watched the scene where Davy devoured Aunt Lingling, swallowed, and dared not speak. When Xiaoyu and Chopper stepped out and wanted to say something, they were pulled back by Nami Robin and others. He shook his head lightly at the two of them. Advertisement. Seeing this, Xiaoyu and Chopper looked at each other with complicated eyes, until finally, Aunt Lingling's huge body completely disappeared. Dark Kun King. 39 in the black hole space. Davy's open palms suddenly clenched into a fist with the outside world. The black hole suddenly shrinks and disappears. In the black hole space, a stalwart phantom appeared, exuding terrifying arrogance, and the coercion swept across the entire Black Shadow Kingdom in an instant. The ninjas of the Ghost Shadow Corps in the Kingdom of Shadows are all on their knees. Is trembling, but also looks at the dark in awe and adoration, King of Kun. I saw the darkness of the sturdy body Kun Wangxiang, stretched out his hand and grabbed the body of Aunt Lingling. Immediately after opening the mouth of the blood basin, swallow it directly into the abdomen. At the same time, the system prompt sounded. Ding, you killed the 4 Emperors Kaido of the Beasts. You got 7,800 origin points. Close black lens bracket. Ding, you killed the 4 Emperors Charlotte Lingling. You got 7,100 origin points. 4 Emperors killer. Even a mere pirate dares to be king? Kill a pirate 4 Emperors to prove the true king. Get quest rewards. 10,000 origin points, 10 silver summoning tickets. Ding. Congratulations for killing 4 Emperors, 4 Emperors killer title. Blessing. Your reward is doubled. You have obtained 40,000 origin points, 10 consecutive silver summon tickets 4, soul fruit 1, fish and fish fruit * 1, 35.
Ding, you killed and annihilated the 4 Emperors Regiment, all the Beasts pirates. You have obtained a total of 35,300 origin points. 35. 10,000 is the annihilation of the Imperial Regiment, and 25,300 is the reward for killing and arresting 95% of the Beasts pirates. Ding, you killed and annihilated the Big Mom pirates, all the members of the Big Mom pirates, and you got a total of 33,200 origin points. 10,000 is the annihilation of the Imperial group, and 23,200 is the reward for killing and arresting 95% of the Big Mom pirates. This wave of rewards has taken off. 108,500 source points. Advertisement. There are also 2 top-level devil fruits, and 4 10 consecutive silver summon coupons. Davy smiled slightly, feeling extremely happy at the moment. Let's go, temporarily stay in the Wano Kuni Shogunate for a few days. After doing all this, Davy said to the summoned characters. Congratulations, Lord, it is Wano Kuni's honor. 35. Kazuki Hiyori immediately bowed his head and watched Davy and the others leave with complicated eyes. After Davy and the others left, Onigashima also landed and leaned against the coast of Wano Kuni. The psychic control of the tornado still exists, and the island of ghosts will not sink into the sea and lose control. Hiwa-sama, please announce that you will bring the bodies of Kaido and Kurozumi to the Flower City. Announce to the people that the evil rule of the past has come to an end. Wano Kuni will be restored to its former glory again. Let's start a country, Hiyori-sama. Denjiro stood beside Kazuki Hiyori with a serious face and said. Now that His Royal Highness Momonosuke is dead, the next person to inherit the throne can only be Princess Hiwa. Even if it is a woman who succeeds the general, as long as this person belongs to the Kazuki family, there is no doubt about it. With these old guys around, the Zagwang family will never lose their throne. They will swear to the death to defend the authority of the Kazuki family. No, Wano Kuni will not open a country for the time being.